Ladies and gentlemen, live from the confines of my dingy and opaque office, we are live and we are bad. How is everybody? What am I missing besides that chromosome? How are we looking? That took me a second there to go live. This laptop was giving me, yeah, it was being a little bit of a little annoying. Laptop was being a little annoying. Hey, we got Danny Boyd in the chat. Howdy, Dan. How are you doing, man? How did the week treat you? Dakota's timeout. Saying, dang, Ari, I about gave up on you. Just like my dad. Just kidding. What's going on, Dakota? How are you, brother? Yeah, this laptop was being a little bit interesting there. Hey, we got Hubie's Garage in the chat, grilling and chilling with Mojo. Howdy, Mojo. How's it up north, man? Dakota says, I'm doing good. Hope y'all are too. I'm doing great, man. Besides this laptop being funky, that was frustrating for a second. Yeah, we got Hubie's Garage. He just uploaded his video for the Chop Challenge, the regular Chop Challenge. I call it the Chop Challenge. It sounds kind of like Mario Kart or something. I don't know why I called it that, but I guess it's all the same, right? Got Caesar T Rex in the chat saying, hey, hope all of you are well. Hope you're well too, Caesar. How's it been out there, man? Got Jay Russell Finch in the chat. He's like, yeah, where the fuck was Ari? Mojo's saying it's raining and cold. Yeah, it's a little bit like that sometimes. It was warmer down here, but I'll be honest, man. I was sweating a little bit today. I'll take the cold. Danny Boyd saying, I've got it. The Mop Bucket Nationals. Hubie's Garage is saying, glad to see the laptop didn't get frisbeed into Kodo. The Karens of Kodo would not be happy. Hey, we got Ed's Machine in the chat. Howdy, Ed. How are you, Ed? Kenny Whidden in the chat. Welcome, Kenny. At Zero saying, oi, oi, oi. When you're running down the back street, oi, 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 with Doc Martens on your feet. Oi, oi, oi. And D in the chat. Howdy, brother. I appreciate all the feedback this week, man. You had a lot to add to those videos. Ed's doing good. I'm glad to hear it, Ed. Ed, I told you I did that gasket prep the way you told me to on the decks of that 350. I was doing that crosshatch gasket prep like you told me. My boss comes up and I'm kind of just sitting there. I had set the file and the sandpaper down. And my boss says, you know, that you're actually doing that wrong. And I'm like, oh, yeah, well, you know, this is just the way I do it. You know, just try to kind of shake him off. But he grabs the file and the sandpaper. And he says, if you really want to do it, you should go across the whole deck. And he just goes straight across, ruining the perfect crosshatch I had on that gasket, on that deck. It was, I felt like asking him, like, do you lick the frosting off of your kids' cupcakes, man? What the hell was that? His machine says, dumb. Yeah, that's what I thought too, man. Hey, we got cousin Mike in the chat. Landon Custom Classics. He's saying your boss is a winner. Yeah, he's got some stuff up his sleeve. Mopar Man 1978 in the chat. Dave Lewis in the chat. Welcome, brother. How are you? Brian M. Howdy, man. Yeah, and it sucked too because I just got it looking pretty nice. And yeah, just straight across the crosshatch. I had to redo it. I was like, oh. Andy, the crosshatching was just on the deck of my 350. Hey, we got C Roma in the chat. Howdy, Charlie. Hearing you and Tony talk about the old cars, man, that's inspiring, brother. You guys must have been some serious badasses. Dave Lewis is doing good. Glad to hear it. Very glad to hear it. As machine's asking if I like the technique, yeah, I get it. Feel like it gets really good results, and it's clean. It's easy to tell, how much, what I'm taking off, what I'm not. I trust you, Ed. I mean, your work speaks for itself. I told you, I think my boss's machinist moonlights as a butcher. Ms. Olive Drab in the chat. Howdy, Olive. How are you? Danny Boyd's asking, any relation to Ricky Roma? Hubie's Garage is saying, he sounds like a great boss to learn from. Do everything the opposite he does, and you'll do it right. You're not wrong, Hubie. You're not wrong. Dakota's timeout saying, are you getting ready to build that 350? I sure am, Dakota. I'm kind of stuck on the heads right now. I need to just put away some pennies and get myself a decent set of heads. Mike from Landon Custom Classics is saying, I started a project today, mostly done, putting a riding mower engine on a boat motor. You're getting crazy over there, Mike. You're doing all kinds of cool stuff. The Geo Tracker, you got the boat motor stuff. I saw you fishing earlier, but I didn't get a chance to tune in. I was out with the family. Eddie Boyd says coffee is for closers. Glenn Gary. Ed's machine saying foolproof. Yeah, exactly. I really, I really like the method. I'd done it the way he was talking about before. I just ran a block straight across the deck, and I don't feel like I got anywhere near as good of results. So, Chris Cadman in the chat. Welcome, Chris. How are you, man? Ed Sure says having a bitter prick for a boss sucks. Oh, this week was good. This week was good. We got Nathan's Mopar Garage in the chat. Howdy, Nathan. Welcome, brother. Yeah, no, this week was you guys know, like, electrical connections, of course, just non-insulated electrical connectors. He was trying to tell me that I was crimping the electrical connectors backwards. And I know there's a split on one side of the connector. I understand that. But have you guys ever heard of that? Crimping electrical connections backwards? Holden Man TC, welcome, brother. He says, anyone got a Shed 55 sedan? Please let me know. Well, Holden Man TC, I think Hubie's got like 555s. I think. See, Hubie's already asking, Holden Man, what area are you at? Hubie, I think he's in Australia. Chris Cadman saying bikes are out and running. Glad to hear it. Now we're talking. Danny Boyd saying Ricky Roma was Al Pacino and Glenn Ross. Dan, I don't remember a lot of that movie. All I remember is the closer speech. Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying crimp indent opposite of the split. Okay, so he's not just making stuff up. I had the opposite idea of it. I thought that the indent had to be on the split as to allow the material somewhere to go. At zero saying I got a brand new rear drum, egg shaped. Chinese youth labor ain't what it was. Sign of the times for sure. Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying neater crimp. That's all. Yeah, I can understand that. I was. It's not like I wasn't. I was like, "F you, I'm not going to do it that way." I was just sitting there like, You're really running out of shit to say about my work, huh?" Any Boyd saying I'd prefer a twist connection just about every time. Ed's Machine saying Jeff 487 and 487X heads are great. Need to install hard seats. UB's Garage is telling saying perfect, Dad. Ari has 624s, and I told him to drop them and run. He needs a good solid set of truck heads as his daily. Yeah, I was starting to kind of mess around with some porting on those 64 heads, and I sent Hubie a picture, and he's like, "Hold on." He's like, "Are you available for a phone call?" And he calls me, and he drops some really great information on me. Hubie is full of good advice. If you guys are ever confused about cars, especially Chevys, maybe life in general, just ask Hubie. No, but very seriously, he's full of great advice. Uh, and then cousin Mike's saying that at zero they don't work them until they're blind anymore. God. Olive saying a lot of Chinese companies seem to have never maintained or fixed their machine tools. You get all kinds of weird thread issues. Dakota's asking if I'm going to flip my pistons backwards. Dakota, on the slant six I put together, they're backwards. Ed's machine saying the 624s are bad. Yeah, Ed, I didn't really, I probably should have done more reading, but I didn't realize just how bad they were. Pretty much anyone who knows what they're talking about can attest to how bad they are. But I mean, that was the issue with the block in the first place. You know what I mean? Was a top end issue like that. So it's like replacing the heads is no issue to me. I thought if they were quality, I would have had a machine just because I like the idea of running, stock heads, cast iron, whatever. But for the price of dart heads nowadays, I feel like I could get a decent set for around the same price as the machine work. I'm not sure about that though. Mexican spec saying, I understand Kathy ignoring me, but you, Ari, I would never ignore you, Mexican spec. I'm just dumb. No, I appreciate you, brother. How you doing, Mexican spec? How's it down south, man? Hold Man TC saying, anybody want to come down to Victoria, you guys can come down here, have a look at Indian motorcycles and the Classic Car Center in Ballarat, Victoria. Man, I'd love to get down there. It's a beautiful place. Ed's machine saying, all right, clean and mag heads before starting work. So you guys, it's at least someone's thinking here. You guys are I'm gonna have to shell out some cash if you guys are gonna do my thinking for me. Thanks, Ed. Eric Kofed in the chat. Howdy, Eric. You out on the road, brother? Nathan's Mopar Garage saying Mexican spec. It took me 3 weeks to get a question answered. Not from me, right, Nathan? I'm pretty bad though. My poor brain. I'm chronologically inept. Mopar man. Mopar man asked something here. Where is he? Mopar man is asking, Ed, how much do you charge to balance a crank? I plan on balancing the pistons and rods at home for my LA 360 when I get around to building it. Mexican Spec saying it has been stressful lately. The buyer of the car is giving me lots of trouble. That ain't cool, Mexican Spec. Hubie's Garage is saying I have 339X and 441 cores. Eric Kofed saying my buddy has a 62 Dodge D100 with a slant six. That thing is awesome. I bet that is a sweet truck. I think is it 67, 66 or 67, the year with like the huge bezels around the headlights. That's my favorite. Got Auto Salvage Outlaws in the chat. Chris Cadman saying that Uncle Tony guy was the guy that got me hooked on coffee. Oh yeah. Mexican spec saying Eric Kofed that it's common here in Mexico. Chrysler didn't have a V8 to use in the 60s in Mexico. Everything had the 225 slant six. Endless slant six. Yeah, Hubie was kind enough to offer me some cores for the 350. Some nice heads off of his son's Nova, if I'm not mistaken, and I was, I was inclined to take him up on the offer, but I don't, I feel bad taking, taking their heads, and that compared with, again comparing the machine work versus just buying some new heads. I don't know how. I don't know. What do you guys think? How would you go about that? I was thinking just some newer, some dart heads, just bolt them on, run them. His machine saying you just save those heads for early high performance head build like a Z28 or Corvette. Eric Kofed saying, yep, currently tied down at the truck stop in Lenore City, Tennessee. Saying those are the pipe pan headlight bezels, the most desirable grill style. I love those trucks, Eric. I really do. They're really sweet lines and everything. Ed's machine saying not darts, Ari, not darts. So what do you think, Ed? Just should I just try to find a good set of core heads and get them magged and work from there? Or I was just trying to be practical and frugal because I'm a cheap bastard. So Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying never turn down free head. Eh. Mopar Man 1978 is saying anybody need a new in the box slant six motor mount? It's driver's side. Dakota's timeout is saying I'd get whatever you could find. If you'll go to swap meets, you'll probably find some. You know the there was actually a new auto swap meet this weekend. I was supposed to go, but I ended up hanging out with the family instead. I didn't want to drag them over there. And I was thinking with cast iron. I was thinking of sticking with cast iron just because the truck application, it seemed kind of like a good way to go. I almost bought a set of aluminum heads from a customer at work that, he just bought some new AFR heads and he was getting rid of the Edelbrock heads, but that was more for convenience than any desire to have aluminum heads. Chris Cadman saying was playing the Gretsch Tri 5 tonight. Badass, Chris. I wish I could play a little bit. First responder garage. In the chat. Howdy, brother. Ed's machine saying I never quote prices in the chat. That makes sense. He'd be saying Ed said 993s are good. Did I miss something? Ed says no darts. Danny Boyd says I want a Telecaster. Me too, Dan. Those things sound so sweet. I feel like you pick one of those things up, and especially my brother's got an old deluxe reverb amp. You plug it into something like that, man, you can't play a bad note. Ed Zero saying Nathan's part of this Never Stop Learning series. Ed's machine saying Jeff 882s are fine. Mag first. Ed's machine saying you can use darts. Sorry. I mean, again, it's one of those things I'm kind of unenlightened with. I haven't with the slant six. You know what I mean? There's no aftermarket support for that really at all. So it was just like, okay, throw the head on there. You know what I mean? But with some options for the small block, it's kind of a conundrum for me. Dakota's timeout is asking Ari, will you sing high key to? I hear. I don't get that one, Dakota. I'm not reading it right. I don't think. But yeah, guys, what a week. You know what I mean? I had that blowout right there on the highway. Um, had my boss chewing the hell out of me over painting an oil bath filter, and then the geyser of muddy water coming out of that lower radiator hose all over the freshly detailed Thunderbird. It was quite the week, but I'm still here. Life goes on, right? Mopar Man 1978 is saying, finally picked up the Slants Hicks head. He hot tanked it, magnafluxed it, and shaved off 40 thou and cut down the valve guy bosses to accept newer style valve stem seals for $135, labor included. Jeez, you got a friend over there, Mopar Man. Dave Lewis is saying I've had good luck with darts. Dakota's time out saying, "Oh shoot, will you sing Honky Tonk Heroes?" Oh, down evening sun, done did everything that needs done. First responder garage is saying, check your air because it's a fluid. First responder, you know what happened? I think because there were three other cars on the shoulder, like within a quarter mile of me that had flats. So I think there was something in the road, maybe nails or some kind of debris or something, and I must have run that over. And because the road's rough over there, I didn't really notice for a second. So I got that low tire pressure, and I'm sure that's what tore the sidewall off. But what are you going to do? Sometimes you're the bear, whatever. Danny Boyd saying Roy Nichols played Telecaster a lot with Merle Haggard. Oh, yeah. QB's Garage is saying, I remember when brand new 062 Vortex for 280 each. QB, at that car show in Orange today, I saw a lot of folks running the Vortex heads and trying to cover up they got funky valve covers, trying to cover up the center bolts and everything. Ed's Machine is saying, advantage of new heads, heavier castings, hardened exhaust seats, and screw-in studs. Hey, we got Rusted Junk Garage in the chat. Howdy, brother. How's it up north, man? Auto Salvage Outlaw is asking Dakota if he's getting Hunter fixed up. First Responder Garage is saying, that sucks, man. It happens, man. It's bound to happen. I mean, I'd probably be kind of dumb to be surprised when stuff goes wrong with a truck that old, but Chris Cabin saying Artie sings in that rare off key. I'm tone deaf. Mexican Spec saying, all right, do you see my posts? Are you skip them a lot? I watch them. They pop up. You know what I mean? I just my notifications aren't as accurate as they should be. And sometimes, I'll have so many of them that I'll skip through the notifications, forget to get back to them, stuff like that. I do see a lot of your videos on Mexican Spec. I try to throw down a like. If you'd like, I'll comment more. I just, I don't want to bother you too much. I'll do it for the algorithm, but I only have so much to say. First Responder Garage is saying, I like the truck Vortex better because of the exhaust single angle seat. Dakota's timeout is saying, ASO, are you talking about putting that transmission in his car? That darn boy will not listen to anyone. He doesn't understand that you have to make stuff work, especially when you're doing a bunch of part swapping. Yeah. QB's Garage is saying that Ed, reason mentioning the 882s was that Ari saw a cheap pair for sale and you had worked on a pair in your channel saying they were not bad. I know it has been 50-50 with people loving or hating them. QB, I think those 882s are still on there. Mexican Spec, what did I skip? I try not to skip anybody. Oh, Mexican Specs, you asked how long I waited for AAA. Oh, it wasn't too long. It was only maybe 30 minutes or so, a little less maybe. No, about 35 minutes. Sorry, Mexican Spec, I can only read so much. He was crowd saying, hey, Steve, I have a mail call video with you mentioned set for Tuesday. Now we're talking. Ed's Machine saying, Vortex heads flow good. Dakota's time out is saying, I don't hesitate a bit to do some cutting, hacking, and grinding. Yeah, sometimes, Dakota, you really got to, especially if it's your stuff, you really got to just make it work. I prefer not to, you know what I mean? Terry Grover in the chat. Howdy, Terry. How are you? Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying good night, everyone. Good night, Nathan. I appreciate you, brother. I got a mail call video to do for both Nathan and Jive Hive Jeff from Two Hacks. Those guys were kind enough to send me some stickers, and I need to show them off to the world. They're going on the truck and on the toolbox. Chris Cadman saying, "Can we do a night trashing Uncle Tony just to see if he'll respond?" That gets a lot of views, Chris. You know, if you start trashing Uncle Tony, you'll get famous. Uh, he'd be saying, "John at J&S Gear on Gothard has two Holdens." You know what? I took my J&S did my drive shaft on the truck. That was like 7 years ago now. Holden TC saying goodbye for now. Please check Holden Man TC. Yeah, check out Holden Man TC channel. Good folks, always popping in, very cordial, always inviting us down. Appreciate you, brother. Mexican Spec saying, if you guys send me your sticker, it can tour Mexico. I have 3 on there now. Am I missing comments again? It's probably on the top chat, not a live chat. Brian M. Saying, Brian M., my neighbor had a 66 convertible Mustang at Orange Circle Car Show, the Sprint package. I might have seen it, Brian. I was there today with the boy and the lady. First responder is saying, everyone says that it's all about flow, but reality is the low lift, limited flow that helps remember the overlap. Reality is the low lift flow that helps remember the overlap cycle or create pressure, spike trapping more air due to ram effect. Good old first responder, man. He'll keep you thinking. Said, sorry, I accidentally hit the enter before I was done typing. No worries, man. First responder, I got to ask you, since you're probably the smartest one of all of us, but crimping electrical connections, is there a right way and a wrong way? Mexican Spec saying, I saw you went to the dark side, Mopar Man 1978 on Mr. Will's live. Oh no, not Mr. Will. Hubie's Garage is saying, John is a bit grumpy, but does good work. Yeah, Hubie, when I worked for Primo Powder Coating down the street, I had to drive this flatbed and deliver them some parts. And I remember I had pulled up, backed in this flatbed, and one of his customers or something just boxed the hell out of me with that flatbed. And I ended up running, just barely touched the taillight of their OBS Chevy with the flatbed. Made this horrible noise. I thought I had destroyed this guy's truck. But I remember that. I don't know if it was John himself, but one of the guys, he was so pissed about that. Parked like such a dickhead. He was so pissed about it. And being like 20 years old, I was like stricken between, not wanting to lose my job, but being so ready to fight the guy. It was kind of Spencer's food reviews in the chat. Howdy, Spencer. Dakota's timeout is saying for a 70 to 74 model, there's a turbo 350 and a turbo 400 cross member. I didn't have the right cross member, so me and my dad have done some cutting and welding. Doesn't look beautiful, but it works. Yeah, that's what matters, man. Mexican Spec saying, Danny boys, I don't have a lot of time in my life for high school mentalities. Spencer saying hello to Spencer. Chris Cabin saying, I got a bag of socks in the mail. Nice, man. I'm doing well, Spencer. Just hanging out over here, trying to keep up with these comments. I'm kind of slow tonight. I'm slow every night. But D says, if you can pull a connection and it doesn't come out, it's a good crimp. What What do we got? First responder garage is saying that's not nice. People are people. You may not agree, but to trash others is wrong. Oh yeah, you can't give them too much energy. I mean, it's the same thing to me as if I roll up on somebody's live stream and they're sitting there trashing first responder garage, and I'm like, I don't need to hear this. Why is this a point? And they kind of continue to do it. I'll just kind of separate myself from the person. I don't really. Holden Man TC is back in the chat. Welcome back, brother. I don't really like to. First responder garage is saying it's all closed loop, but if you trip your loop, your loop is open. Coda's timeout is saying, I know in 75, all 455s were 4 speeds, but I don't know about 76s. I really don't think they put the turbo 400 in 75 to 81s. At Zero Santoni, brother, already said, dang, pomade. Oh, yeah, it's slowing me down. It's like pudding on the brain. Dickie Farley in the chat. Welcome, Dickie. Stoic Steel saying, so is this after the Tony? Or way after the Tony? It's way after the Tony, man. Stoic Steel, this is like, Tony's like Saturday Night Live. I'm for sure midnight at the Apollo. So, a little bit of a different demographic there. It's pretty late. Brian then called Tony that name. Brian does. I was out. First responder garage saying Stoic. I like the way you think. Sanford. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't really like to. There's a lot of shit talking channels and stuff. People who just rag on Tony, and I like Tony a bunch. I've been talking to him for a long time. I wear the guy's T-shirt and everything else. It's the same thing. All I said, it's not like when I was in that live stream when they were bashing each other, it's not like I said, F you or anything, or you're a piece of crap or anything like that. I just said, don't talk shit on Tony. That's all it was. Like, hey, don't talk shit on Tony. You know what I mean? Like, come on. And I mean, it wasn't about anything substantial. You know what I mean? It's not like it was stupid, is what I mean to say. And that kind of stuff can happen. People get stuck on silly things, whether they feel like it's an attack on their intellectualism or pride or whatever it may be, and then they'll go on a tangent. It's no good. It's ugly. Like, look at us right now. You know what I mean? We're on YouTube. We're not on here to say anything negative or have a bad time. I don't think any of us are too angry about anything. If we are, we probably keep it to ourselves well enough to have a good conversation. So I don't know. Ad Zero says, I believe in being honest. Speak as you would in person, or it's simple. Be men, speak as one. Yeah, pretty much, man. Cabin says Tony's a good man. Dave Lewis says, if I remember right, there was a second set of holes for the Turbo 400 in the 75 to 81s. Hey. Well, poor man 1978 saying, I don't get people. If you don't like watching a certain channel, why would you hide in the shadows and watch the live show and then complain about them for people who pop in? I, First responder garage saying Tony's cool. I may not agree with everything. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's, certain things. Well, poor man 1978 saying, I don't watch the show The View and then complain about it later. I do that sometimes. I'll watch cheesy westerns and just like I'll be upset about it. Man, I watched the shittiest western last night. It was horrible. It's horrible. Well, I mean, a lot of movies. I watch a lot of bad movies, yeah, so it's all over the place. As you're talking about the dark side, I don't know. I mean, I just again, I didn't really wasn't that invested. I just don't really see the point in talking a bunch of shit on Tony, especially about neutral drops. It's like, huh? What are you going to do there? Oh, someone's going to break their car. You're telling kids to do neutral drops as if the kid. No one told me to do neutral drops or e-brake turns in my car. I did them just the same. It's a silly reason to get upset about people or upset. John Wilburn. I make sure to make fun of John Wilburn just a little bit because I feel like that's what he would want, but I don't really know. No, John's cool. Me, I text him and everything else. He's does a lot, with the No Name Nationals and everything. Brought everybody together for that. I think it's cool. John, we've been talking again. We've been talking for years. I don't, you know what I mean? It's if I get tired of hearing about the No Name Nationals, I just tune out. I'm like, okay, whatever. They're talking about their race. You know what I mean? I'm in here just inserting stupid comments. So I'm gonna back out. Like, what are you gonna do? It's YouTube. You know what I mean? Hubie's Garage is saying I got in the middle of two Try Five channel guys who wrote each other off. It sucks. They're both good dudes. It'll happen, Hubie. You know what I mean? I try not to. Chris haven't seen ours here. Thanks, man. It's kind of suffering right now. There's a little too much heat today. And he's saying we watched Plan 9 a bunch of times. Old B movies are great. That one is pretty great. Have you ever seen Aunt D? Have you ever seen Angry Red Planet? Dakota's time out saying John Wilburn is a good guy. Hell yeah, he is. Cousin Mike saying do one of your John Wilburn impersonations. Mike, I don't know if I got a good one. Rusted Junk saying Jeff, let's try Five Guys stick together. Mexican Spec saying Wilburn found his niche. He's created a lot of work for himself. Ed Zero saying the Moon Eyes show is what No Name Nationals could have been. Could have. Ed Zero, that Moon Eyes show was packed. I don't know. They got some tenure though. You know what I mean? It's in the middle of Irwindale and everything else. Like they got some tenure. Poor man 1978 is saying, Ari, there's a lot of people who think the sun rises and sets on certain places, and I don't go along with that. Yeah, fair enough. They got Rich GT350 in here. Howdy, Rich. How are you, man? Andy saying, haven't heard of it. 50 sci-fi. Yeah, it's Andy, you know that like from the Misfits shirt, the Spider Wolf thing? It's from that movie, Angry Red Planet. It's kind of a cool watch. It's cheese. It's pure queso, man, but it's a good watch. Angry Red Planet. Coda's time out saying they all told me to trash that tire without tread and the wire sticking out, but it ran for another 5 years until it was thin as a piece of paper. No poor man saying, like a lot of people who are going to the No Name Nationals, but if I don't go, it doesn't mean I'm lazy or don't care. Same old drama. Grow up, people. Yeah, same kind of thing. You know what I mean? John always really tries hard to get me to go, but my situation's kind of weird sometimes. It's hard for me to commit to things like that, and I genuinely appreciate the enthusiasm. You got guys like him who, he offered to help me get over there. Folks like Don and Wendy English who were like, "No, we got a spare tent. Come hang out." You know what I mean? I don't know. You're great people, just the same. Some of them, it's a It's a big crowd, so you're bound to get a few weird folks, but I always hope that everybody gets along because I feel like we definitely have more in common than we don't. Especially here, we're all kind of sick-minded gearheads. Dickie Farley saying, "Poor old John Boy always getting a hard time." Hubie's Garage is saying, "Not everybody gets along. We're still a free country, free to believe what we want." I think. Ed Zero saying, Run what you brung, car show and vendors. I did this business except the racing bit." Chris Cadman saying, "Bourbon makes me funny and attractive to women." That's good, Chris, because bourbon makes me salty and probably malodorous to women. Chris Sanders in the chat. Welcome, Chris. How are you, brother? Cousin Mike wanted a John Wilburn impression, though. It'd have to be like on the phone, like 911. What is your emergency, ma'am? Have you heard about the No Name Nationals? Abel D in the chat. Cousin Abel, how are you, brother? See, I can poke fun at John because he's my friend. It's not like a malicious thing. Stoic Steel saying, so the new Demon 170 is $100,000. What if you took a SXT Challenger swap for the V6 for the 392 with nitrous? Won't be demon level performance, but Hellcat should be scared. Jeez, Stoic Steel, that'd be scary. I mean, yeah, it won't be demon level performance, but that would still be a pretty serious rig, man. Gee. QB's Garage is saying it's 1,200 miles one way. Yeah, pretty much, Hubie. I really, what I mean? It'd be cool to go just because it's like we talked to so many people who are going and racing, and I just like the idea of tailgating and hanging out more than anything. It's like I don't really race. I've been to the only drag race I've been to was with you, Hubie. So you know, you only do so much there, but just the same. Rich GT350 is talking. They're talking 200,000 ADM on the 170. Who's going to pay that? Someone will, Rich. Someone will. As sad as that is. Old man TC saying, "Hi, Rich GT350R. Do you have a Shelby GT Ford Mustang?" I'm just asking. Dakota's time out saying, John Wilburn came and visited me and took a look at all of our junk cars. That was cool. You know what's funny, Dakota? That's how my brain works. It's been in the back of my mind to watch that video since it came out. And how long has it been, Dakota? Abel D is saying, "I'm late. Just finished doing a police report. Some nut job tried setting fire to my Land Rover ambulance." That doesn't sound cool, Abel. That's not right at all. That's a little scary. Stoic Steel saying, "Wow, 200,000 is way too much." Yeah, that's supercar. That is supercar price right there. First Responder Garage is saying you can build a faster car than a Demon for way less money and look a hell of a lot better. He says it. It's probably true. First Responder Garage is saying people who can't build cars will pay. Yeah, pretty much. Someone needs something to flaunt. I used to love that because when I first started working in bars, it was in an area kind of like that, higher upper class, and the parking lot would be full of Aston Martins, Ferraris, Teslas when you never saw Teslas, and just all these luxury cars. And right in there would be my buddy's '64 GMC. He would let me drive it on the weekends because he drank. He's like, "I don't want to drive it. You just take it. It's safer with you." So I would take my buddy's '64 GMC out to this area, and the valet it'd be parked next to all the cars. The valets would laugh about it the whole time. Abel D saying the idiot left a Texas license plate on the vehicle and his fingerprints all over it. Abel, this is some serious crap. I mean, what, is the car damaged? Did he actually get? Did anything bad happen? Is the car okay? Are you okay? Why are people trying to burn your stuff, man? We got that's at Son High 85 channel. Oh, channel. Welcome. Saying hello, my friend. Welcome to the chat, brother. Glad to have you. Uh, Rich GT350R is saying Holden Man TC. Yes, I have a Shelby GT350R GT350R Heritage Edition. Eric saying good night. I've been lurking in the chat long enough. Got to get up in 5 hours and smoke some reefer and peaches. No, I'm just kidding. Eric says he's got to pick up a reefer of peaches. That's awesome, Eric. Dude, it's just like moving on. The peaches. Well, you be safe out there, brother. Appreciate you stopping in always. Hope everybody stays out of your way, and hope there's no issues with the reefer. Abel's saying so weird leaving a plate behind. Yeah, that's a little out there. Abel's saying car is fine. My ego is hurt a little bit. Yeah, I can imagine that ain't cool. I think that happened to at Zero a long time ago. Someone tried to like firebomb his black dart, if I'm not mistaken. They burned some portion of it. Right at Zero. What did I'm not making that up, right? That happened. BNR Racing in the chat. Howdy, Brian. BNR Racing, where every day is doomsday. BNR, I was man, those get this freaking burnout marks you left in the street were pretty badass, man. That 454 is working. First responder garage is saying, do you know police officers touch the back of a car to leave their fingerprints at the check? Rear trunk, if the rear trunk lid is open, they also use their cell phones to look through the window tint. Huh. I knew about the fingerprint thing. I didn't know about the window tint. Abel D saying Texas plates were vanity plates that read "I love NNN." That's a good one. Andy saying a lot of the car shows we go to and work are more hanging out live bands rather than showing perfect paints and paint and trophies. Andy, that's the best part. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna go to Viva Las Vegas at the end of the month, Rockabilly weekend, and that's what it is. You know what I mean? You got a concert, a great car show, vendors, some good food, people just hanging out and tailgating. UB's garage is saying I took my wife to Las Brisas in her '57 Chevy wagon. When we came out, the two valets had ditched the Porsches, Ferraris, and were sitting in the wagon. Nice, man. Poor man saying I don't have a charge card, so I might show up to No Name Nationals or I won't. Won't lose sleep over it. Like I said, I'd be really happy to go. You know what I mean? It's not like definitely don't have anything against being at the race. You know, there's a lot of people who are incredibly kind to me that are going there and everything else. So I don't know. You know, for me, it's like it's tough for me to get down the road, much less across the country. You know what I mean? Rich is saying she is not for sale, not at any price. It is my dream car. Well said, Rich. BNR is saying, "Oh, you see my burnout latest with the 410 gears and power tracks, no slip traction locker? Locker, yeah, man, that was that looks mean, brother." Well, poor man saying, "I'd like to go to that at some point." Yeah, right, man, it'd be cool. It's just it's been it's like my mom's in Arkansas and I haven't seen her for years, so it's like it feels kind of strange if I make the time to go to a race. I don't see my mom. Certain things, I don't know. I overthink everything though. Brian, the 350 is kind of I'm at a standstill with it. You know what I mean? Because I've done my prep basically on the block. I could paint it, I guess, but at least on the short block. But I need to do something about the heads. And I'm kind of torn because I don't know whether to find a set of aftermarket heads or just find some stock heads, have them magged, and try to work with them. Ed's Machine saying, "Hello, Brian. I watched your burnout. The gears and posi worked great." Yeah, it sure did. This cabin saying, "Gretch." Aunt D saying, "I found the trailer for Angry Red Planet. Looks bad equals good." Mopar Man saying, "So now I'm the evil one." Yes, Mopar Man, you are the Luciferian. First responder garage saying, "I'd like to see you there, Ari." Hell yeah, man. It'd be cool to talk to you, brother. I have to bring a pen and paper though. Brian M saying, "I get it, brother Ari, family commitments." Kind of, I mean, in a sense, it's just like it's funny. It would be strange for me to make the time to like go halfway across the country. Well, not most of the way across the country and go to a drag race, but I don't know. Rusted Junk Garage is saying, "I used to go to Viva Las Vegas when I lived there. Fun stuff. Isn't it rad, Rusted Junk? I don't know what it was like a long time ago. I've only been going for about I think, 5 years now, but I hear stories of the old times. It seems like it's fun. We do. The lady and I just go, we'll chill in downtown Vegas, just get all the seedy little spots and just have fun. Andy is saying Vivo is cross country, but I want to go sometime. It's worth it, Andy. I enjoy the hell out of it every time. Oh, Mopar Man saying Rockabilly Weekend. I meant Mopar Man. It's worth the trip, man. It's cool because you're just in the middle of Vegas hanging out. There's no pretense. It's just Brian. The present heads are the 624 heads, which everybody hates. You know, they're super prone to cracking, and that would I was actually going to have to. I'm fairly certain I was going to have a machine to get a valve job done on them. So it's kind of to work with them. I guess I could throw them together, just kind of run it as is, but I'm not really going to go that route. I guess. Charlie Roma's saying, "Got to get up early. I'll watch chat later on. Good night, everybody. Good night, brother. Thanks so much for stopping in. Really appreciate having you, and I hope you have a good week. Be safe out there. Check your fluids, brother." Hold a man TC saying, "Tell me what your favorite dream car truck is. Please tell me down in the comments." Dream cars. Jeez. 60 Bonneville, 60 Bel Air, 60 Barrett's, 60, something from 60. Chris Cadman saying, "Ever try rockabilly with a 12 string?" No, Chris, that would probably sound crazy though. It'd be weird. Ed Zero saying, "Hootenanny was first, Viva and us at Ink and Iron." I wish they'd bring back Hootenanny at Zero. They keep trying to do like they did like that Born Free festival out there and stuff. But Olive saying he thought a Land Rover with medic markings was Nazi. What did I miss here? I missed a comment from Abel. Abel saying, "Ari, it's crazy. A guy once told me he got off his car and said, hey, is that a Nazi vehicle?" He points at the Red Cross and oh wow. Yeah, that would be not some bright folks out there. BNR is saying Dakota 323 factory posi in the 63 Grand Prix. Stoic Steel saying, "All right, I think the aftermarket heads are the way to go, in my opinion." I was thinking the same thing, Stoic Steel. Unless I mean, unless I can find a really good set of cores, or I don't know, because the price is neck and neck. It's like if I'm going to save myself a few $100s, you know what I mean, versus the time spent and everything else. I don't. Plus, if I get good cores and they end up in machine shop limbo, the time they're spending in the machine shop is holding me back too. So there's got to be some compromise there, right? First responder garage is saying, "I've gotten 450 horsepower on stock, untouched Vortex on a 450 lit flat tappet cams. Good set of V heads and Chevy intake. I'll call it good." First responder, this is going to sound stupid. This is going to sound very stupid. I'm apprehensive about the Vortex heads because of the valve covers. I know, I know, I know. If there was nothing in the world that I could have said to make myself sound dumber, but it's a thing. Terry Grover said, "Hello, Ari." Said hi to everyone, but my phone was ringing. I had to leave, but I'm back. Glad to have you, Terry. How's it going over there, man? How's the 460 coming along? Or have you still been moving? QB's Garage is saying flyweight heads. Yeah, the 624 is very undesirable. QB saved me there. BNR Racing saying my old 78 Formula Firebird was built with a Chevy 350 Quadrajet. Had the lightweight casting smog heads. Never cracked on me, Ari. Had that car 87 and 97. Is that are those the 624 heads as well, BNR? Because I thought they might be mid 80s. Holden Man TC saying, does anyone like a Chevy C10 Ute? That's my favorite dream Ute. You talking about like a Holden Man TC? Are you talking about the actual pickup or the Ute? You talking about like a El Camino or? Because I know. Do they have a different name? Do the Holdens have a different name? Rich is saying too far for me. Dakota's timeout is saying I saw a guy the other day at the Rod Run in Pigeon driving a '69 Charger, as calm as cool as could be, smoking a cigarette and everything. I'd be crazy excited driving one. Certain cars, right, Dakota? You really feel them. Hey, we got Dino in the chat. Dean Stevenson, the man. How are you, brother? Mopar Man saying nothing wrong with the Iron Cross or the Maltese Cross. Was originally a symbol of Christianity. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that never bothered me much. I mean, you see pictures of the old, like, motorcycle clubs and stuff, and they're all wearing, death's heads and swastikas and everything else. It was like, I don't know. First Responder Garage is saying, get adapters for the old covers and shave the front of the head into double humps. It might be a little over my skill level, First Responder, but I get what you're saying. Chris Cadman is saying he came up with a song called Heidi, Heidi, Heidi for my dog. How is the dog, Chris? Not so flatulent this time, or what? First responders saying you'll have people dumbfounded. Auto Salvage Outlaws saying, "Are you need StreamYard?" I have one. Auto Salvage Outlaws. I just always do it like this. I rarely have guests. The one guest I ever had on the StreamYard was Tony, and that was months ago. But it'd be kind of cool to have some other people on here. We wouldn't have to listen to me yap so much, Abel's saying Mopar Man 1978. Interestingly, Land Rover has a radiator grill called Maltese Grill, very sought after by enthusiasts. Andy saying I've helped judged car shows, got invited to the Road Agent show in 2003, and have almost no interest in traditional car shows since. Some of them are kind of rough, Andy. And my problem down here is you see everybody building the same cars, and it just becomes kind of repetitive. Dean Stevenson saying Ed's burrito machining operation masquerading as an engineering shop. Good day, mate. Good day, mate. Dean, there was this kid in high school that drank a lot of that yerba mate, and he wrote this song about it. And the song was called Bombillas in the Sand. I never let him live that down. Abel's asking what he missed at UTGs. A lot of stuff, man. They're talking some cool stuff over there. They're talking just old racing stuff and everything else, some engine spec. Wood Chips in the chat saying, "Oh, you did go live." Yeah, it took forever, Wood Chip. This computer was wanting to get frisbeed. Mexican Spec saying, Danny Boy, no, they were vacuum operated. In the 70s, they came up with the electric system. 66 and 67 was electric, though. You ever seen the 69 doors open? Terry Grover saying, all right, just seen a free 460 and a C6 trans, and he wants it gone by Tuesday, so we're going to try and get it. Hey, good luck, Terry. If you need a torque or intake for it, there's one at the shop. Wood chip saying I've been listening to In the Woodyard. I'm unenlightened, wood chip. Tell us. Olive had a good comment. Olive saying the biker gangs immediately post-war rode with their war trophies. It wasn't supposed to be pro-Nazi. Yeah, Olive, you know what I'm saying. It's like a kind of more of a symbol of rebellion than hatred, I guess. I don't really know. I could be wrong. I tend to do that. I know. It doesn't mean it. Hubie's Garage is saying Summit used to sell GM Vortex. Now you can buy remanufactured Vortex heads by Veg, VEG, at Summit or Summit modified brand Vortex with a bit more lift. I had a comment I meant to read too. He says, my thoughts are if the heads haven't cracked after 50 to 70 years, likely will not ever. That's true, BNR. I probably, I mean, I guess I could have a Magden check. That could have very well been the issue with him in the first place because that engine did have a miss. BNR saying, been too long, Ari. They were the hated smog era Chevy small block heads you have now. I ran good at old 78 Formula Firebird 4 speed, 68 Muncie M20, wide ratio 252 first gear. It's a 308 gears stock posi. Dave Lewis is saying, take a look at Engine Quest heads. I will have to take a look. Chris Cadman saying a dog is sleeping, not flatulent today. Danny Boyd saying they were slow and open independently from each other. Makes sense back saying to Danny Boyd. And Holden Man TC saying I want a Chev El Camino Ute. They're around here, Holden. I mean, you can definitely find them. The earlier they are, the more sought after they are. But especially mid '80s El Caminos, you can still find for a decent price. Dakota's out for the night. He's saying, y'all have a good one. Have a good one, Dakota. Have a great week, brother. Be safe out there. I hope everything's going well with the cars. Help your brother with his transmission and check your fluids, brother. Bobs. Oh my God. Danny Boyd saying the 67 and 68 Cougar used two actuators, while the 69 and 70 went to a single motor in the middle. So they opened and closed together. UB's Garage is saying, I almost got my kid the Summit Vortex, but secured some AFRs and it turned 450 horsepower at West Tex 90. Nice. First Responder Garage is saying, it's not every day you see a blown Durango on nitrous. That's why I'm building one. Hello. Everybody has a two-door Camaro or Mustang. Yeah, it's true, First Responder. I never seen that, man. Here you go for saying thanks, appreciate it. Yeah, brother. There is just the torquer intake as well as a stock distributor for the 460 at the shop. It's on a swap meet pallet, so I mean, I don't want it to sit there for another 6 years. So if one of you guys can use it. Mexican Spec is asking First Responder Garage what year his Durango is. Wolfram Man saying even stole symbols from the Vikings. UB's Garage is saying the builds around here are mainly fart cans. That's for sure, Huey. There's a lot of crap out here. First Responder Garage is saying someone needs to LS swap a Model T with wooden wheel. Full death trap. He's saying that because he's a first responder. It's job security. Aunt D is saying if you're just going to cruise the 350, any heads will be just fine. Did the motor come with heads? Aunt D, yeah, it came with heads, but there was, that was kind of the issue. I believe it had a sunk valve, if I'm not mistaken, and It had a miss. That's why I was able to get it at a fair price. Excuse me. But yeah, I do have the heads, but they're very undesirable heads. And QB's advised me against them. Ed's advised me against them, and I mean, that's all. That's pretty much enough for me, especially if Ed doesn't have much anything bad to say about much of anything. So if he doesn't like them, they got to be pretty bad. Stupid government. Woodchip saying Chris said in the woodyard that is subtle funny might go over your head. Not paying attention. You just did a video of creative beer opening. Now we're talking. You guys are talking about. Oh, you guys are talking about the old kind of fascists, not the new kind of fascists. UB's garage is saying Dakota. He works at Clay Smith, and his 350 was used on their channel as their test mule. They used their 300 duration. Chris Cadman saying, why put the distributor at the back of the cam and not at the front where there's less flex? BNR Racing saying, I got that job at the restoration shop I was telling you about 1 month ago. Be the head engine guy and builder, unsure, my friend. School bus company job is stable now and local. Well, hell, Brian, wherever you're working, man, I'm sure they can use you. It'd be cool to see you working on some hot rods, though, just the same. Lord knows you're more than qualified, man. First responder saying it's a 2001 Durango. PB's garage is saying the miss was probably because of a crack. My 624s had 6 cracked exhaust seats. The minute you overheat them, they're done. QB, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually, because when I looked at the valves and the valve seats, I didn't see any like very apparent damage. And it had an obvious miss. It ran well. You know what I mean? Like, not like greased eight, but like it ran well in that Blazer. I made sure to scoot it down the street a few times before we took it out. But the transmission that I took off of that engine, I mean, it was like the fluid that I drained from that transmission was bad. It's the worst I've ever seen. It was good brown gravy. It was bad. So, I mean, I'm sure there was some heat. A crack in the head would make a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Again, I mean, I'm still shooting in the dark unless I have a mag, but it's like I don't want to spend the money to have a magged if if the rest of the mechanical world considers them trash. Mexican spec saying first responder garage. I have a 2000 with 6,500 miles, 65,000 miles on it. I just had the engine out to reseal the engine and replace the freeze plugs. Nice. Woodchip saying that's why my truck exists. The seed was planted for fast trucks when a friend of mine built a G20 shaggin' wagon with a warmed over iron flat tap at 355. Moved pretty good. Woodchip, your truck is badass, man. BNR Racing saying mainly US dollar has collapsed, bound to fail in 2023. 2X Jeff. 2X Jeff nervous too. Talk all the time, Ari. Yeah, yeah, man. You're always on that doomsday kick, man, and a lot of the time you're really not wrong, which kind of sucks. But I'm with you, man. Yeah, I try to. I, you know what I mean? I'm so dumb. I can't focus on bigger things like that. Any boy saying fascist has evolved to define any kind of tyrant. You're talking about national socialism. Come on, guy. What are you talk about cars? First responder garage is saying Mexican spec. Mine has 365,000 miles. See you guys. First responder, thanks so much for stopping in, brother. Always appreciate you coming in and giving some feedback and everything. I'm glad you get a kick out of the shorts and everything. And thanks for the kind words earlier in the week with the blowout and all that. But you be safe out there. Enjoy yourself. And I don't need to tell you, man, but check your fluids. Oh, poor man's talking about atrocities of socialism, communism. Oh yeah, geez. Oh yeah. Dickie Farley saying, in the words of Rom Zombie, yeah, my Durango number 95. Nice. BNR Racing saying BNR Racing is saying Chevy Vortec 305 and 350 heads are often found with cracks around the head bolt holes. Hubie's garage is saying as bad as DD's ATF today. I haven't seen the video, Hubie, but I mean it was there was some good brown gravy. You could put it on the market and call it biscuit lotion. It was bad. I stopped. I started draining the fluid from the it had a nice fancy pan on there with a drain plug. I started draining the fluid and I look at it and I put the plug back in and I got my boss. I'm like, Ray, like check this out, man. And he's like, oh no, that we know about that. I'm like, you know about that? Obviously the transmission got rebuilt, but just the same. The the guy he rebuilt that transmission and he got a new crate blueprint motor, which I think was it's like a 350 in the kind of I think early 90s OBS style. And yeah, he had a nice setup. He ended up leaving with everything good, you know what I mean? But I was kind of pissed. He really, I mean, I was kind of doing him a favor taking that big old boat anchor of a 350 from him. What are you BNR saying I had to settle Jeff down tonight. One last race in front of the world and No Name Nationals 2023 cheered him up. Mexican Spec saying, okay, four of you haven't hit the like button. Who are you? Ed D saying I would at least take the heads apart and clean them up. They were just drunk. Clean them up. If they were just there junk and you're out a couple hours, yeah, Andy, I wouldn't mind cleaning them up, putting them back together. I definitely won't scrap them. I'm kind of weird about that. I'd rather give them away than scrap them. But yeah, I don't want to waste them. But again, I don't want to. I mean, I guess I could run them on the engine, and then it's not easy. It's not hard to swap a couple of heads down the line if I have issues. But I'd rather just put something together that was more viable. Especially as dependable as the six cylinders been. If I could get anything comparable, I would be happy. Stoic Steel saying Rob Zombie Dragula. Hubie's Garage is saying this is not politics advice. Mexican Spec is saying, why are you worrying so much about the heads, Ari, if you're just going to cruise it to and from work? Mexican Spec, I just want something that runs well. You know what I mean? And a lot of the 350 swap for me is not just, I want to be able to cruise this thing on road trips and stuff, take it camping with the kid and everything comfortably. I can now, but, you know, I'd like to make it a more viable vehicle in that sense. And with a good set of heads, with something stout, you know what I mean? It would be easy to use the truck more. That's my thinking. BNR is saying if it's 50 to 60 to mag check the heads are, I think it's worth it. Yeah, BNR is probably a little expensive around here. It's probably closer to 100 something, but I mean, it might not hurt. But with that rate, Brian, I might as well buy maybe a late 70s set of Corvette heads or something to have those magged and have a better something to work with, rather than the mid 80s kind of. Ad Zero saying White Zombie to Rob. At least he made music for strippers who didn't like being naked while hip hop was playing. Amen. Uh, BNR Racing saying most shops would mag check heads, blocks, cranks, and rods for free, Ari, if you stick with it and put them to work. That's true. I haven't asked my buddy Jaime, and he's right down the street from me over here. Chris Cadman saying, by the way, the 76 Suzuki GT 750 fired up right up after winter storage. That's badass, Chris. And Chris Cadman is also saying that the dog woke up, farted, got off the sofa, and went to sleep in the kitchen. Just an update. Nice. Uh, Terry Grover saying, my son was just stuck on his way to work with one of the slicks on his car an hour and a half away in thunderstorms. His slick went flat. I'm sorry about that, Terry. I hope he's all right. I hope it went okay. The pain in the ass. I got that blowout this week, but it was raining a little bit, but nothing crazy. Aunt D saying, of course, taking things apart and seeing if it's good is how I have a basement full of junk. Aunt D, exactly. I've already taken them apart. I've gone through them. I was just kind of like, I need to do something with these heads. So I started to do kind of a port job on them. And I sent Hubie a picture, and he stopped me straight up. He's like, wait, are you available for a phone call? And we said, I talked to him for a while. We were talking about heads and different options and things that he's dealt with. And, he said that he had this exact same set of heads on his 1980 Chevy pickup and that he had issues with them cracking. And then he switched, I believe he told me, to a set of 881s, and he didn't have the issues, or 882s. Geez, my poor brain. And he didn't have the issues any further. So, I mean, that's kind of how it goes with Hubie. He tells me something, and I'm like, a lot of me doesn't want to listen, but then I'm like, God damn it, he's got too much real world experience for me to deny what he's saying. It kind of hurts. No, I'm kidding. He always gives good advice. Ed's machine is saying that's terrible, Terry. Yeah, it's no good at all. He was all right though, right? Terry was safe. No, nothing real bad, right? Mexican spec saying Chris Cadman changes diet. Chris is saying Mexican. She's 16. She eats what she wants. I like that, Chris. Just let her do her thing. Woodchip saying, why did I build a 10.5 to 1 aluminum headed roller cam 355 if I only use it to haul wood? Because I can. You guys talking about the oligarchy? Hubie's Garage is saying you could get $100 for them, but you'd be passing the problem to someone else. Hubie, you make it sound like a gypsy curse or something. Like I'm going to hand them the heads. Like, yes, take these, and like just like throw 2 pennies at them, spit, and run away. Hey, we got GTI Warrior in the chat. Howdy, brother. How's it going, man? How's the week treating you? Anything cool this week? Any pointlessly difficult stuff at work? BNR Racing saying the original GM ZZ3 Crate 350 launched back 1990 year used 128 C4 Corvette aluminum heads. Paul saying slicks in a thunderstorm are not ideal anyway. Abel's saying, Ari, be careful. Machine shops are not what they used to be. Now a revolving door to create funds. They don't really take pride in their work. Abel, I have a pretty cool machinist here in Santa Ana. His name's Jaime. He works at the shop's General Machine, and you go in there and there's just stacks and stacks. I should probably just call him, see if he's got any heads. There's just stacks and stacks of engine parts. It's one of those places. They do great work, and you can tell they're a little bit under equipped to do the quality of work that they do. So I mean, I they did my slant six, and I felt like everything was really proper. Everything. Anything they had resurfaced looked really, really great. The cross hatching was perfect on that engine. He had sourced parts for me that I really like the quality of the parts. Hastings rings, Silverlight pistons, stuff like that. And I don't know. I feel like the guy's viable. He didn't charge me much for labor. It almost made me feel bad. Ed's machine saying, I'm not going to Magnaflux anything for free. Exactly, Ed. I wouldn't expect you to. See, folks like that, like machinists, you know, the more tenured mechanics that are, assembling engines, whatever it may be, gunsmiths, I don't like to call them or waste their time at all. You know what I mean? So it's like if they, you know what I mean? I don't know how else to say that. Like they're very professional people. They're in their place of work. Me calling them is them wasting their time. It should cost money. It doesn't. So it's like I don't even want a phone call for free. I can't imagine asking for some Magnaflux, asking you to Magnaflux heads for free. Excuse me. Get some water. Spencer's chugging. Wood chip saying getting a flat slick in a thunderstorm is like nature telling you to stop driving before you effing hurt yourself. Yeah. Okay. UB's garage is saying, what if you go to Vegas? You also use the toll roads with heavy grades. We blew up over 10 of our fire trucks on those toll roads. Toll roads. Clay Smith charges 180 bucks to disassemble B blast and mag heads. It's really not a bad deal at all. Olive saying I was experiencing some minimum tread depth just lately. Should actually get a pair of tires. Food nerd in the chat. Howdy, ma. Chris Sanders is saying anybody else seen a ton of big brown beetles attached attracted to the outside lights at night lately? Not here, Chris. I missed your last comment about the fish sticks too, man. I'm a little jealous. I haven't had fish sticks in years. GTI Warrior saying, all right, it snowed yesterday and it was nice and warm today. You got that manic weather, the whole spring thing going on over there? At least it was warm today, man. You're still working outside or? UB's garage is saying no. The Mexican spec, the South County toll roads, taking the 15 to Vegas has 120-degree temps. Yeah, that would be a fun one. Chris Cadman saying, what is the deal with cut LS heads on Ford 300 engines? I'm not sure, Chris. A couple people did that. It was I know there's one guy who ended up in a magazine about it, and then Ken from Tall Garage did it as well. Stoic Steel saying, how good are the 441 Chevy heads? Stoic Steel, I've heard they're really good. I mean, they're kind of a mid range. I think that Hubie offered me some 441 cores, if I'm not mistaken. It's three numbers, and I can't remember. Isn't that sad? Wood chip saying, I used to love 187 in New York if I was in something with single rear wheels, no cops, nice pavement, 80 miles per hour. Nice. All of saying, where are you, Chris? The June bugs are out way early again this year. We're going slow because it keeps getting chilly again. Mexican spec. He's talking about the toll roads out here because I've taken my truck on them a few times, and it's a pretty hectic drive. You know what I mean? Even I'm surprised that truck does it as well as it does. Honestly, BNR saying it's the machinist and operating skills of him, along with his character, that matters most. Ari, yeah, Brian, that guy Jaime, he hooked me up. You know what I mean? And it's honestly a little bit of a shame that I haven't gotten that slant six broken in and running because I feel like between his really excellent machine work and I feel like I took some good care in assembly. I feel like it should be running. Chris Sanders is saying Farmville, Virginia, named after the game, Farmville. Chris Cabin saying north of Detroit. Eagle D saying, all right, it's cool. Stick to whom you know, call him for Eds. That's a good idea. I think I might have to do that tomorrow. And Dean Stevens saying esophageal delight from the spins. Dean, you really are a linguist, man. You ought to write something. I mean, I know you writing the comments is writing something, but I mean like a novel. Andy saying it's interesting. If I was told a half a dozen horror stories about a machine shop I've never had an issue with. I mean, maybe it could be an expectation thing. It could be, the products that they're actually bringing the machine shop. You know what I mean? If you bring them something that's not viable, you're expecting them to be a miracle worker. Danny Boyd says big brown beavers, big brown beavers. Mexican spec. Hubie's garage saying Mexican spec. I'm not sure what you're asking. I drove fire engines in the OC where Ari lives, and the 73 at toll road has heavy grades. We blew up 10 rigs on the toll road. That's crazy, Hubie. Cable D says, Ari, drink some water. You've been talking head too much. Terry Grover saying, I wish everyone had your common sense, Ari. Most people do not understand what a machine shop goes through behind the scenes. Yeah, Terry, I mean, that's tedious work. That is very tedious work and time consuming at that. I can't even imagine, how much, not that you're struggling, but that, you know, how proficient you have to be to keep a pace and actually get something done in an 8-hour workday, when it's that technical and tedious and you have to wait for these processes. Nothing's going that fast, so I sympathize. Mexican spec saying Hubie's garage. I thought you were saying there are toll roads on the way to Vegas now. No, just the 15 Mexican spec. Chris Cadman saying Ari needs a Bud Light. GTI Warrior saying outside all day, every day. Colorado Spring is bipolar. It'll likely snow next month. GTI Warrior. I mean, that sounds rough, but I've seen some. There's a yard next to us here, and they work outside. It's kind of a. I mean, they've got like an awning and stuff, but their shop's mostly outside. It seems kind of like a cool way to work. For as filthy as I am, I should be working outside. Wood chips saying New York 17 now 180 or now I-86 isn't a toll road, but it used to be free for all between Monticello and Windsor, New York. Lots of patrol there now. Oh geez. QB's garage is saying, yep, 441s and have some 339Xs that came off a 72 Chevy Longhorn. QB, like I said, you know what I mean. If I end up going that route, I got to trade you something though, or get you some cash or whatever it may be. I have access to a lot of good parts, but I don't know. Your son's running all AFR stuff, and you pretty much. I feel like you've got you've definitely got your Tri Fives all together. So I'm not sure what you'd need besides the cast iron Power Glide. I'm saying the stupid nonsense. People freaking out. They're only drinking Bud Light to show redneck identity or something, or just sheep. All of my thought on that was like it was a marketing thing completely, right? And they go up there like they ask an old redneck dude, like, hey, what do you think of Bud Light? And he's like, yeah, honestly, Bud Light's a little gay. You're like, okay, noted, noted. Okay, we're gonna go with that. Mexican spec saying who only works 8 hours in a day. I'm pretty much I work 10 or 11. Except Friday. I work like 8 on Friday. Wood Chip saying Primus sucks. You're not wrong, Wood Chip. Uh, Abel D saying, Ari, I'll hit you up for that machinist contact number. I'm looking for one closer. The one I know right now is in Mojave. Yeah, this guy's in Santa Ana. There's a couple decent ones in Orange. I was tempted to go through, but like I said, I went with the local guy, and I wasn't unhappy about it. The one thing he did do, he only gave me about a thousandth of clearance on the crankshaft, which that's it's pretty damn tight. That was kind of an issue, but he fixed it for me. He didn't charge me nothing. It took him a little while, but he fixed it for me, and I got some. I think I got 3,000ths now, so should be all right. Chris Cadman saying, I grew up in a machine shop. I understand. Yeah, that's not easy work. Ed's machine seat talking about machinists needing to work. Ed's out for the night. He said, good night, everyone. I wish you all well. Thank you, Ed. Thanks so much for stopping in, man. Can't tell you, it's great to have you here always. And hope you have a great week. I'm sure the shop is full of work as always. And be safe out there. Check your fluids. Check your cutting fluids. All I'm saying, I think it's you dudes that are obsessed over nothing. I'm not obsessed with anything, Olive. I drink sparkling water. I don't. You could you could print 5 trans people on a bottle of sparkling water, and nothing's going to make it gayer than it being sparkling water. I don't care. I'll embrace the gay. Mexican spec saying, why is it controversial for Bud Light to go after another group of people? Isn't a company supposed to go after all the customers they can? Again, I'm indifferent. I just think it's funny. GTI Warrior saying 8 hours feels like half a day. Pretty much, you know what I mean? You're like, you get a day like that, brother, and you're like, you're waiting for something to happen. You're like, am I allowed to leave? Just 8 hours, really? Uh, Chris Sanders is saying, I like Coors Heavy and Youngling. I never had that. Hubie's Garage is saying, I need to do that Power Glide video. Yeah, Hubie, you need to take that thing. Andy Boyd's saying, I always drank Miller, just not to be drinking Bud like everyone else. Chris Cabin saying 8 is half a shift. Pretty much, huh? That's sad. As you were saying, my brother bought a case last night. I don't care. We laughed about all the Asians who will never drink it again. Oh, Mexican Specs. I've worked for myself for decades. I do what I have to do when I have to, no matter what day or time it is. Yeah, pretty much. Rich GT350R is out for the night. Have a good night, Rich. Thanks so much for stopping in, brother. Appreciate you, man. Hope it wasn't too boring. Have a good week and check your fluids, man. Dean Stevens is saying he's obsessed, Olive. Ari's denial only proves. Danny Boyd saying I did buy some Bush a couple weeks ago, but it wasn't very good. Drank a lot of it in my 20s. Yeah, that stuff's kind of rough. When I was in Arkansas, everybody drank Bush, and I would buy Pabst, but it's tough for me to drink beer like that anymore. I'll drink I drink Mexican beer. I drink Modelo, and I'll probably get like 2 beers down before I stop and find something to eat. So I don't drink much. Ed Zero saying Ari's super gay about that spark. Yeah, Ed Zero, it's like Heather's, right? You'd be saying good night to Ed. Ed from Ed's Machine. What a great dude. Wood Chip saying Bud Light isn't even a beer. Chris at the Woodyard says it's a beer-like substance. That's kind of true. I mean, you got to imagine it's like mass-produced. They're using pellets of the actual ingredients. Nothing's. I don't know. It was one of those things. It was like I wouldn't have. You know what I mean? Like I never drank Bud Light. Like there's a reason Modelo's the official beer of UFC now. It's because Bud Light sucked. I don't care. Bud Light sucked. That's all it was. Doesn't matter what you put on the can. BNR is saying I seldom drink alcohol, but if I do again, it'll be Miller Lite, Rolling Rock beer, or Heineken. Oh yeah, something light. That don't sound bad. Poor man's but products don't agree with me for whatever reason. It's kind of mood. It's just funny all these people being led around by the nose. Yeah. Yeah, all the people get weird about stuff. I don't care. Yeah, as you're saying, Guinness for strength and peace of mind. Don't they give it to pregnant women in Ireland? BNR is saying they should put Kyle Rittenhouse as the new hero on all beer cans. The Kenosha kid, Brian? Brian, you got to admit, it's kind of funny that he comes from where all the snap on tools come from. So there's something there. Chris Cadman says, last time I tried to buy Bush, I got arrested. Dan saying I used to drink a lot of imports too. Chris Sanders saying, I like to get a 6 pack of tall boys and do karaoke by myself. Damn, Chris. I would karaoke with you, but I don't want to take that from you. That sounds kind of freeing. Do start doing that myself. Olive saying Guinness is for everyone in Ireland and Boston. Oh, BNR saying no. Actually, Kyle Rittenhouse is from Illinois. You're Joliet, Illinois. Okay, but he's still the Kenosha kid, Brian. Brian, that was a tough video to watch. Could you imagine? Could you imagine how that adrenaline pumping, him dealing with all that? Crazy. Dean says I get weird. Beer gets people weird. Frank Zappa said beer causes martial law. QB's Garage is saying sad to say, but Modelo and Corona are owned by Anheuser Busch. Ah, dang. So now I got to buy Victoria. Oh wait, Cerveceria Modelo. That's his hat trick. That kid's awesome. Oh, guys, don't start offending each other. Don't you guys dare. I'm not gonna buy into this. Hubie's Garage is saying, "Oh God, those people would lose their stuff if Rittenhouse was put on a can." I mean, Hubie, I don't know if you watched any of the like the YouTube community, but the guys that are based around that kind of stuff, they all praised him. Which I don't, you know what I mean? It's one of those things. Chris Cabin saying, "How's the weather, Ari?" Chris, the weather is got a little bit chilly. It got a breeze. It was a warm day, probably around 75 degrees, but yeah, we started to get a breeze right around 3, 4 o'clock. Cooled down, kind of like flannel weather, I guess. Probably not for the rest of you guys who are used to uh, actual weather. Abel says, "Ari, I'm putting a paper bag on my IPA as I type. Salute." Hey, cheers, brother. All I got's a water, but Dickie Farley saying, "I offend myself." Chris Cadman saying, "Oh, the luxury." Yeah, Chris, the weather's good, but I mean that's pretty much the only thing here that's not killing you. The price of things and people on the freeway and everything else, it'll kill you. Wood chip saying, "Does California even have weather?" Wood chip up north they do. Not here, out in the desert they do. Terry Grover's out for the night. He's saying, "Good night, Ari and everyone. God bless, guys." Thanks so much, Terry. I appreciate you coming through and everything. I'm sorry about your son and the thunderstorm. I'm glad everything ended up okay. And good luck picking up that 460. I hope you have a great week, brother. Make sure to check your fluids. And again, if you need that Torker intake, definitely get it to you. Spencer saying the weather's getting nicer. Spencer, you're in Colorado, right? Mopar Man saying he encourages people to get mental help. which is good. A lot of people could use to talk to someone, and it helps even things out every now and again. It's kind of screwed up. I did therapy for a little while, and it's kind of funny because it's like I don't know. I'm a bitter, salty prick at heart. And it was kind of funny trying to relay that to someone who was like on such an even keel. You know what I mean? I felt like I had to hold back, so it wasn't really the most therapeutic. But what are you gonna do? Chris Cabin saying, "Ever see frost on a windshield?" Yeah, Chris. I mean, it's technically. I mean, it snowed here. It snowed at my work about a month ago now. It was not technically snow. I guess it was sleet. But Mexican spec says, "Damn, I keep forgetting to check my fluids." Me too, Mexican spec. But it does get cold, especially in Central California. It'll get freezing cold. There'll be ice on your windshield and everything else. But down here, it's pretty much the desert. So it's like half the year is really hot. You get some mild weather if you're close to the ocean, like I am, luckily. And it just kind of varies, where you are. So, like I said, some of California gets real weather, but not down here. Southern California is very mild. Olive, he may not be a doctor, but neither was Dr. Seuss. And look at everything he taught us. Guys, be kind to each other, please. UB's Garage saying better weather now. Most snowfall in the U.S. last month, and we nearly had 100-year rains here in California. Yeah, it was pretty rough, UB. I mean, it's one of those years, but the wildflowers are nice. I mean, if you're all hippied out like me, you want to go walk through flowers. It's a good year for that. UB's Garage saying leadership or lack of is killing California. Yeah, like I said, Hubie. For me, it's rough. I can't imagine what it's like for you, brother. Because I mean, you kind of you saw the steady decline and everything, and I was just you got to imagine. I'm 30 years old, so it's like you got minimal adulthood dealing with it. So I don't know. It's got to be rough, Hubie. That's all I'm saying. Dean Stevens is saying it rained cat piss. Dean, that I was laughing so hard about that because Dean, I was looking at that portion of the roof where that hood was after the rain, and it was soaked, and there's like a cheesy little sheet metal patch in the roof, probably with some mastic around it. And but yeah, it's cat piss. It's raining cat piss. Oh, guys, please be civil. I do have some strong opinions on the subject, but in the same breath, guys, it's like, I've seen people really bad off. You know what I mean? And it's like, if it takes some weird crap to where, you can wake up every day and just be a normal human and you don't want to take your own head off or nothing, good for you. You know what I mean? If it's a little weird to me, yeah, whatever. That's me. It doesn't have to affect me. If it works for you, it's good for you. Whatever makes you feel good, I guess, within reason. Within reason. So, I try not to judge. You know what I mean? I try to keep an open mind. You know what I mean? Especially on a person to person basis, because it's like if you judge somebody by their creed or whatever, you know what I mean? You've already written them off. You don't know them. And I know you guys have very strong opinions on this, very kind of opposed opinions, but very strong opinions. But please be civil. Don't insult them, especially not each other. You guys are very good people. I like you both very much. Woodchip saying we had one day last week that was 91 degrees, 23% humidity. It was interesting. Cool morning, hot for a little in the afternoon, then back to cool. That's not bad, Woodchip. You get like a flannel morning and then kind of a stay inside midday. Uh, Hubie's garage saying we're still in a desert. Yeah, but Hubie, the weather's getting way more Mojave out here, I feel like. Orange County's got that Mojave weather now. Ed Zero saying drove up to Lake Elsinore, dude green everywhere. Couldn't see the tweakers, etc. Mom's talking about Richard Pugel. Mom, you talking about Richard or Rika? Because they're two different people. Ed Zero says, Hubie, come on. HB is a swamp. It is. It is actually. Hey, we got Go Go Garage in the chat. Howdy, Go Go. How's it going, man? How's the Camaro? Holding TC's out for the night. Saying going camping with the boys. Then we're going wheeling with Utes. I'm taking the Toyota Hilux. I'll have a good time holding TC. Thanks so much for stopping in. Always appreciate you, man. Make sure to check your fluids before you get out there. Dickie Farley saying, anybody remember Dr. Kevorkian? Dickie, I went to Zach Baggins's Haunted Museum in Vegas, and they actually have Kevorkian's VW bus that in the museum, like his VW bus that he administered his treatment, killed people in. It was creepy, brother. Creepy. They also had Ed Gein's Cauldron, which was pretty out there too. Hubie's Garage is saying, drive out to Newts and Lake Elsinore, and the wildflowers are everywhere. Dickie Farley saying, I am a Richard. Hubie's Garage saying, I'm strongly one way on these topics, but this isn't the place. Cars are the glue here. Yeah, pretty much. Go Go Garage is saying the Camaro's coming along, working on the engine. Go Go Garage. I had to stop work on that '68 Camaro that I was working on. I was got the tubs in, got the seam sealer on there and everything, got them painted, and I was about to reinstall the four link and get the third member into the Ford 9-inch and everything else. Start getting towards axles and brakes, but the owner said to hold off on the work. I guess he's low on cash or something, so that thing's just sitting there. It's kind of a bummer, man. I was really hoping to move forward with that car because it's been sitting for a long time. And I'm sure you know Camaros aren't exactly growing on trees. They're not cheap cars anymore. Dust Devil Garage in the chat. Welcome, brother. How are you? Did I miss one? No, I missed something here. J. Russell Finch is saying, just wondering if any have an insurance plan if gas is hard to get going forward. Thoughts on E85 and ethanol? I haven't thought about it much, J. Russell Finch, but I'm sure I'm sure sure running some alcohol wouldn't be too bad at all. But Go Go Garage, it's going well for me, man. Kind of a rough week. I had a blowout, and I had a issue with my boss, and then I had it's not that bad of a week, I guess. Shit happens. But I had the 292 Y block and this 55 T-bird I'm working on. The lower radiator hose blew off as I was timing the thing, and it just sprayed muddy coolant all over my work, and it was kind of a bummer. But I fixed it. You know what I mean? If you F up, being able to fix it's the determining factor there, right? Dickie Farley saying it's crazy cool. It was weird, Dickie. It was crazy to see, man. GTI Warrior saying, do whatever you want. It's a free country. Just don't ask me to participate in your delusion. Well said. Uh, 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 that's a word that means something. That's another thing that throws me off lately. It's like people are so worried about nomenclature that they're like less worried about what you're actually trying to express. Strange. Go Go Garage is saying not even the aftermarket stuff is cheap. No, nothing, man. Those are Those are pretty desirable cars. I'd love a Camaro myself. I really like them. They don't like me. They really don't like me, but I love Camaros. Chris Cadman is saying where I live is either swamp or forest. It could be nice to see past 50 feet. Chris, that is one beautiful thing about California. You get a lot of panorama. Maybe the Pacific Northwest too at certain points, but down here in Southern California, you get a lot of panorama. I remember being with At Zero out in Moreno Valley. We were working a job at the time, and we had to make a dump run, and we're going up this hill, just going to this random desert dump, not paying much attention. There's like tumbleweeds flying everywhere, road runners and stuff. We dump this trash, and we're coming back down the hill, and it's just like we had no idea that behind us was this beautiful, like cowboy backdrop view of the desert. It was amazing, man. Just amazing stuff like that you'll get. Olive saying, "Well, it's funny what you can learn if you like meet people." Oh yeah, there you go. We don't actually use trans fluid at the shop anymore. We use gender neutral fluid. Ad Zero saying, "No BS. My 6'8" roommate is living as a huge chick. His son, who's awesome, is two. That's my everyday. It's pretending. That's all. Period." Oh geez. GTI Warrior saying, "I remember when he used to say words can never hurt me." Yeah, it's kind of funny, but I didn't realize until I went up north. You know what I mean? How oh, you can't use that word. It's an ableist word. You can't, say that. That's a slur. Olive, you are totally the chick in the beginning of Boondock Saints. Rule of thumb. Oh my God. Don't get mad at me. Uh, Wood Chip's saying, as a guy who uses a chainsaw a lot, if you're ever being chased by a guy with one, just keep a good pace and watch your step. Trying to run with a 25 barbell weight that will cut your own foot off or trip. Yeah, that could do it. Abel D's saying, what was the issue with the boss? Sorry, was he on that time of the month? He was just kind of he means well. He means really well. You know what I mean? He's trying to show me how to do something his way, which he considers, which he does good work. I mean, he does things proper, but he kind of there's some things I'm not the most. There's some things I do understand, and he wants to like kind of disregard my experience. And again, it's his shop. Whatever you want, you know what I mean. You want me to paint this thing pink and light it on fire? That's cool. You asked me to do it. Whatever. You're paying me. But he kind of he set me off because he came up and he called some of my work poor workmanship. And I've been, I work a lot. I work my ass off. I try really hard. I try not to cut corners. I do a good job when I can. And the poor workmanship kind of set me off. So I was just kind of a prick to him. So it ended up being a pretty good argument there. Go Go Garage is saying, I like most muscle cars. I wouldn't mind having a few. Just can't afford all of them. Yeah, I feel you there. I've worked on more Mustangs than Camaros. That's kind of sad. Dickie Farley saying that the original Craigslist killer, at least the one that made it big time on the news back in the day, that killed people in Ohio. That happened not too far from the school I went to. That's scary. Mopar Man 1978 makes a good point here. He's saying political correctness is just fascism pretending to be manners. Olive's saying no, it really isn't. And again, you guys have your own messed up ideas of what it means to be polite. I mean, I don't know, Olive. I don't feel like I don't feel very bigoted. I don't know. I'm not judgmental. Like I worked security for Club Lucky. I had I mean, I was probably the only hetero thing in the room. I don't care. And Olive, you got to admit, you know what I mean? As much as I like the idea of brevity and acceptance and equality, on one side, you've got these people who are pretty much just carrying on as they have. On the other side, you've got these people who are trying to suppress free speech and destroy history. That doesn't sound like good people. I don't, again, you know what I mean? Do I need to be able to? I don't know. There's got to be a line, right? With Chip saying paint a pink line. You like that one? Would you? Oh, Olive. In the beginning of the movie, the two brothers, they use the phrase "rule of thumb," and it offends this butch girl that they're working with at the factory, and they both fight her. It's a funny scene. It's not derogatory. I hope you know that. Charlie Bronson never needs a rope. What am I missing here? Uh, Mexican Spec saying I like RuPaul's Drag Race. There, I said. I was saying no, that wasn't directed. All right. Like I said, just be nice to each other. You know what I mean? Everybody's got different views. That's why we're here. If we all thought the same thing, we'd probably be in some kind of cult somewhere. Be like Jonestown. We'd all have a cup of Kool-Aid. Dickie Farley saying the Craigslist killer I'm talking about was burying people probably 8 miles from my school and my house. And even though he was not from Ohio, his last victim ate at Shoney's 16 miles from where I live. That's freaky, man. We just got a new guy at work that kind of he's got that vibe. Like he might harvest people on the weekend. Um, Cousin Abel saying, "Hope you guys are enjoying my content. Just reached 1,000 views. It's on now. Now we're talking, Cousin Abel. Now we're talking. God, I still haven't watched your drum video. I'm such a shitty YouTuber, guys. God, why do I even do this?" Uh, Gogo Garage is saying that Son of Sam used to live in the next town over, Yonkers, New York. That's a crazy story too, Gogo. Have you ever people read into it more now, and it's like he was kind of almost the story is that he's a scapegoat for some satanic cult that was out there, right? Abel Go Garage is asking for your link, if I'm not mistaken. Drinking the Kool Aid. I, I don't know. Go Garage is saying the dog was the devil. Chris Cadman saying Ari wears those Sally Jesse Raphael glasses. Chris Cadman. I kind of thought they were more Kissinger, but are we Mexican spexing? Are we comparing our closeness to bad people? El Chapo was hiding out 1 block from my son's school last night. I parked in front of that house every time I went to get my kid. Oh, geez. Brian's out for the night. He's saying good night, Ari and everyone. Thanks so much for stopping in, brother. Hope you're doing all right over there. Keep working and everything, and keep prepping. I'm sure you're having a good time prepping. Be safe, man. Check your fluids. QB's crowd just saying we had a harvester here in town. He's locked up now. QB, I'm only half joking about that. That guy at work kind of creeps me out. Danny Boyd saying El Chapo escaped. I know this is really off subject. I don't really listen to rap much at all. Trap, whatever it is. I don't know what I don't know what the youth call it nowadays. El Chapo Jr. The song El Chapo Jr. It came on at work, and I mean, I was floored. I thought it was a masterpiece. Chris Sanders is saying, I got an appointment for an eye exam in May. I might go for some Dahmer glasses. Chris, I got an appointment next month too. I wore like metal frame, like everybody called them Dahmer glasses. I got called John Wayne Gacy. I got all kinds of stupid stuff. I mean, I just like the glasses. You know what I mean? I'm blind, so it's like this much more of my glasses frame. Like I need that. I want that. Go Go Garage is going to check out Cousin Abel's channel. Yeah, Go Go Garage, Territory. Cousin Abel, he's got some good stuff. He's got a lot of rovers. You just got a bug. You just got a motorhome too that I'm pretty jealous of. Pretty jealous of. Oh man. Um, Chris Cabin saying, "Damn hippie music." Uh, Hubie's Garage saying, "I remember a comedian saying he'd go into scary movies, sit behind a couple, and say, 'I remember when I cut off a head.'" Yes. Mexican Spec saying, "Your boss plays corridos." Mexican Spec, not my boss, but one of the guys I work with. He'll play the corridos, and he'll play. We'll do cumbia Fridays. I like the cumbias. Woodchip saying, so if you go on a multi-country killing spree, would that make you an international harvester? Yes. Oh man. Oh, say I think the sort of Elvis Costello thing works for. Thanks, Olive. I actually I have most of his albums on vinyl. I didn't have any of them, and my buddy's dad gave away all his records. He gave them to his son, and his son was like, "I don't want these things. Ari, can you go through them? See, I know you collect. Can you go through them see if you want?" And he had like every Elvis Costello album. I was like, he really doesn't want these. I was like, they're worth money. No, take them. So I got all the Costello. Cousin Abel saying, Ari, I'll keep you in mind when I find the next RV. We need to hit the desert and camp. I'd be down, man. I rarely get out, man. I work and I'll sit with the family. If I get out, maybe it's with a lady or something, but I'm always up for it. Hubie actually got me to the drag races. Chris Sanders saying George Costanza when he actually accidentally got the Gloria Vanderbilt. Mexican Spec saying I don't listen to that crap. Yeah, Mexican Spec, you told me you don't listen to any Mexican music. I listen to a bunch of it. I at zero hates it. He's like, why do you listen to this? You know, what's wrong with you, basically. But like that music I put to like the Azul Cortez videos and stuff, like I actually listen to that, you know. Chris Cadman saying, just messing with Ari, Sally. I'm Sally now? I get to be a Sally. I'm gonna get myself a pair of roller skates. Andy saying, just realized it's 1 a.m. Check your fluids. Found a bad wheel bearing when checking my fluids on my F100 and my buddy's 2016 Equinox. Almost ran out of oil again. Good night. Well, good luck with that, Andy. Thanks so much for stopping in, man. Again, I really appreciate all the good feedback this week and everything with those videos. Thanks so much for watching, stopping in, and everything. Be safe out there. Check your fluids, brother. Dickie Farley saying, if I ever seen you got a lot of extra hair metal and old country on vinyl, Dickie, I'll take you up on it, man. I'll take a look. I love collecting records. I had to stop just because I put them straight in storage now, but I love collecting records. Everywhere I go, I try to take a peek in secondhand stores or if they have an actual record shop. One of the best record shops I've been to in a couple of years was in Tijuana, and they had great stuff, all kinds of Zappa, everything else, bunch of acid rock. Paint Namer saying, I bought this year's model way back. That's awesome, man. I was so surprised to find those albums because I mean, it was a lot of like classical music. There was some good rock and roll, but there wasn't much I got into. Beast Garage is saying, as a driver of fire engines, I would go over to the medic vans at a call and turn on the Fiesta music channels full blast. They'd climb in and get them every time. Damn, that's good, Hubie. J. Russell Finch is saying Steve Urkel all the way. I'll take Urkel. Dust Devil Garage is saying, what? Did someone say hair metal? Back in my day, you put on spandex and you worship the devil. Chris Cadden saying, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, set with 70s and 80s punk, seen most live. That's awesome, Chris. A lot of folks, I mean, like at Zero, Hubie, and I guess yourself, you guys were watching shows in those years. That's pretty badass, man. That's when I started seeing shows, some of the bands were newer, but a lot of them were kind of older, a little washed up. It was more of a it was definitely not as risky as it was back then. You know what I mean? It wasn't new or anything any something that people hadn't done. That's for certain. Ian Stevenson saying, I love my friend Saad's Iraqi music as well as Akron, Matisyahu, and a lot of different stuff. That's cool, Dean. Some of that stuff's catchy, the Middle Eastern music. Dean, you got to listen to the band Three Harel. It's like a Turkish psych rock band. Three Harel. You'll like them, man. Chris Sanders saying Seinfeld is one of my favorite shows when I was a kid. I collect cassette, 8 tracks, and vinyl. Oh, jeez. What happened here? That's awesome, man. I don't have a big 8 track collection, but I have a few. Hubie's Garage is saying, check the air in your tires needs to be added. Yeah. Olive's saying, if you want metal, try Mongolian metal, like the band Who. I got to check it out. Olive. That sounds rad. Dickie Farley saying, watch leaving records in storage. They need to be normally temperature controlled by a regular heater or air conditioner, especially old ones that can warp. Yeah, Dickie, I'm so worried about it, man. I don't want my records to warp. But I hope the way I have them stored, I hope they're not too bad. They're kind of tucked away. But Go Go Garage is saying it. A pledge pin on your uniform. Woodchip saying the Muffin Man is seated at the table in the laboratory of the Utility Muffin Research Kitchen, brushing his scapular forth on a dense but radiant muffin of his own design. Adzero saying, okay, well, at the bar, in between all the hooker music, degrading women, I would get in Creeping Death by Metallica. So much work would get done. all motivated and shit. QB's garage is saying it wasn't the Dangerfields. You can see it on the Dangerfields. Dickie Farley saying I'm actually in the process of buying a new record baker that'll cook a record flat without ruining the music, but it doesn't always work or come out right. That's kind of rad. Go Garage is saying he saw Gore a few months ago. That's rad, Go Garage. I was um I was talking to the lady about seeing the B-52s in Vegas, and we looked up tickets, and they were offered for orchestra seats. And I was joking around about orchestra seats for the B-52s. I'm like, what's next? Like an orchestral rendition of Gore? Like, what times are we in? You know, I was asking if anybody actually knows the Muffin Man. Is anybody? So okay, it's on live chat. Dust Devil Garage saying, love the Who band. Okay, okay, you guys both people are standing behind it. GTI Warrior saying, if you like metal, check out Opeth. Their album Morning Ride's pretty heavy. By the time they got to the Ghost Reveries album, they had worked in some prog. I've heard some Opeth, GTI Warrior, some heavy music. J. Russell Finch is saying, hey, Ari, why not do a live build or paint in a future after the Tony? That's a good point. You know, I could be doing some work, I guess. I would have trouble acknowledging the chat, which kind of it bugs my brain. I know you guys will definitely talk amongst yourselves, but I like acknowledging you and reading comments aloud as much as I can. But I wouldn't mind doing some work on camera. It'd be embarrassing, but everything I do is. Dust Devil saying, Go Go Garage, age is only a number. Mine just happens to be the big ass number. With you there, man. I'll be 31 this year. 31. I didn't think I'd live this long. No, most people probably didn't. They probably thought I was going to choke on a quarter or something, but here I am. Edzura saying, trust me, Ari will find the weirdest fucking. And I send it straight to you because I know it's going to just bother you. Chris Sanders saying, you always got to replace the foam pads on 8 tracks, and the splice has got to be reglued always. Olive saying, also, there's these Japanese monks doing metal called Ningen Isu. Turn on captions for translation. Ad Zero is like some song never sold, but 2 copies. This one actually went 10. Ari knows the two songs. Yeah, I got some B sides, Ad Zero. I really do. What I sent you last time was the Chuck E. Weiss. Frankie CNC and Woodworking channel in the chat. Howdy, brother. How's it going, man? How's that head gasket holding up? And Abel saying, I bet Ari has a Selena vinyl record in his prized possession. No, Abel, but I have worked security for 2 Selena shows. So, I mean, I might as well. Coco Grab is saying, cool. They have a hotel not too far from here, upstate New York. Let me back my man. Cigarette warning labels too. Throat polyps. You want to trade for yellow fingers? Dust Devil Garage is going to play video games. So see you all later. Thanks so much for stopping in, Dust Devil. Hope you have a good night, good week, and everything. Check your fluids, brother. Be safe. Frankie CNC and Woodworking Channel saying, I like metal. It welds better than wood. Abel's saying, love you, Ari. I'm just kidding about the Selena. Am I wrong? Please tell me I'm wrong. Pretty please. I'm going to buy a Selena record now. Danny Boyd saying, we call my dog Egypt. He leaves a pyramid in every room. Chris Cabin saying, you're young enough to be my kid. Yeah, I guess I'm not too old, man, but it's funny sometimes. I start to think about it and I'm like, I don't know. Danny Boyd saying, my wife's such a bad cook that when the flies in the yard, if the flies in the yard, I'll chipped in to fix the screen on the kitchen window. Dickie Farley saying, I actually have a real, excuse me, gold record from a pretty famous rock band because I met an ex lead guitar player. It was a fellow Ohioan. That's badass, man. An actual gold record. Frankie's CNC and Woodworking channel saying the head gasket is still head gasket. That's badass, man. You have to take nothing apart, no weirdness, no pain in the ass. You just work on the wood, drive the truck. I like it. Google Garage is asking any experience with Gen 5 engines and 4L80E transmissions. Um, Not really much, Go Garage. I'm about to, I'm hopefully about to help with this 4L80E install on one of the trucks that's coming into work. It's a 72, no, it's a 74 C20, and it's got a really well built 400 block. I forget what the actual displacement is, but it's a pretty healthy motor, and it's getting a 4L80E. But no, Go Garage, very little experience, very little experience. Just I mean, maybe a fluid and filter change. People saying Ari Selena was killed when you were 1 to 2 years old. Then who did I do security for? Must have been a cover band. What did I? Am I delusional? Have I finally lost it? I'm all Reagan. Yeah, Go Garage. Very little experience there though. I most of the stuff that comes through will have a 4L60 on it. So I mean, it's similar obviously, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Ed Zero say my oldest kid will be 30 in July, 10 days after my 50th birthday. Ed Zero, you're turning 50? The hell? Chris Sanders saying I once made a head gasket for a Briggs and Stratton on a mini bike out of checkerboard. Did it work? These garages saying I kept brushing my teeth. My gums kept shrinking. I was brushing with preparation H. Yes. All I'm saying is weird being old. It'd probably be weirder if not for how early the arthritis started. That's got to be rough, All. I'm sorry about that. You guys are talking about Sam Kinison. I love Sam Kinison. When I was a kid, when I would have you can my mom's probably still on here. You can ask her. When I was a kid, I'd have these fits and I'd go on rants and I sounded like Sam Kinison. I wish I had it on tape. I really wish I had. Zero saying, Abel D, I'm getting a Corvette. Or sorry, Abel asked Zero, what are you getting for your midlife present? Please tell me a Tri 5. And Ed Zero says, Abel D, a Corvette, dude. I'm from here. Dickie Farley's saying, I have a 1988 so far so good. Well, so far so good. So what? Megadeth gold record for lead guitar player Jeff Young. Met him through his guitar strap maker in Parkersburg, West Virginia. I was going to buy his Fender Strat. Damn, Dickie, that's really cool, man. I never listened to a whole lot of metal, but I like the music a lot. Metal for me is like Motorhead. I like the band Pentagram. Uh, like some Metallica. Um, Trying to think here. See if I got to think that hard. QB's garage is saying, I think I missed the boat on that power glide. Oh man. Dave Lewis is saying, Go Go Garage. Everyone around here uses the Holly computer for them. Go Go Garage is saying, I'm working on that, getting them to work together. Manual shift on the transmission. Yeah, Go Go. Again, that's something. I definitely lack experience, but we should be doing that swap pretty soon. If I can pick anything up, I'll tell you of any pitfalls or any simple solutions I can find. Go Go Garage is saying Dave Lewis was saving money using the original computer modified. Which Chip saying Reagan needs ride home. At zero, you remember the Reagan and pollution song? Frankie CNC and Woodworking Channel saying, "Who remembers candy cigarettes? I got so nervous once I chain ate a whole small." Nice. 162 customizing in the chat here. He's saying, "Hello, everyone. Hit the like button. Now just listening and doing some work. Glad to have you in the chat, 162. How's it up north?" QB's Garage saying, Dangerfield's intro for Dice was this guy smokes in bed, face down. JB's Little Shop says, "What's going on in here?" Nothing, JB. Just me running my mouth, same as ever. Danny Boyd saying, "I don't listen to any metal. Metallica's first four albums were good, though." Chris Cadman saying, "Ari won't go bald, he go Arctic blonde like Steve Max." I don't know. You never know. I mean, it could cul-de-sac up on me. I'll just grow big sideburns. Go Go Garage is saying anything is helpful. Yeah, Go Go Garage definitely. That's something. I mean, I could also ask my boss about anything we'd have to do because I don't know though. You getting a straight answer out of him is like you find in the napkins in a Chinese restaurant. You're not going to do it. Which gets frustrating at times. Imagine, you're trying to ask, not because I don't know how to do my job, but you're trying to ask somebody for direction because, work order's vague or whatever it may be. And people who answer questions with questions. Wood Chip saying favorites are Sabbath and Pantera. The only true originals. Pantera covered Sabbath song. Yeah, I kind of forgot Sabbath there, Wood Chip. That's a slip up. Dean's saying, I was told not to listen to nasty demonic music as a 15 to 24-year-old, and then I found it and I loved it. Yeah, you get to see that's how it is, Dean. You can't hide things from kids, they'll just find it. 162 saying it's been nice, 70s. It was nice down here too, 162. It was a real beautiful day. Went out and had some cheeseburgers with the family, saw a car show. It was a good day. You'd be saying there were like 3 Dangerfields comic night videos on YouTube from the 80s. I would recommend watching them all. QB, I was enjoying those red green videos. That was pretty damn funny. The oil change with the bumper coming up that's totally something that would happen to me. Chris Cadman saying I need to be sedated. Me too, man. Probably institutionalized, but what are we gonna do? Chris Sanders is saying Mopar Man 1978. I have an Andrew Dice Clay cassette that I've never listened to yet. I wonder why. I'm just kidding. I used to have a Justin Wilson cassette. It was the old chef, I guarantee. And it was him doing stand up. It was hilarious, man. I had that, and I don't know what happened to it. I had that one and Red Fox. I still have my Red Fox records, but not the tapes. Wood Chip saying, look up Gods and Punks. I gotta have to look it up. Olive saying, oh, there were many moral panics about music then too. It's always something with certain. These guys are saying the nursery rhymes were epic. Hubie, if you At Zero showed me the best nursery rhyme. The guy Judge Dredd. I don't know if you guys ever listened to Judge Dredd. He's got some good ones. Woodship saying Black Sky Giant, Epidemus, Orbital Elements. JB's little shop saying, dang ASO, you got a wrench on all these channels. Yeah, I couldn't say no. What am I trust ASO. Yeah, nothing to it there. Dickie Farley saying, I got an Ozzy Osbourne autograph, but it was from a fundraiser on eBay where he just signed a bunch of cards that they framed. Got Britney Spears autograph on a glossy from a NASCAR race the same way. Britney Spears autograph on a glossy from NASCAR. That's a win. That's got to be worth money. Pirate Greg saying, Dread. Howdy, Pirate Greg. How are you, man? Welcome. Pirate Greg saying, Dangerfield skit about mechanics is hilarious. I got to refresh my mind. JB's little shop saying, I don't need a wrench, man. That's true. I don't want to have you working over here, JB. Olive saying, I used to work in a dark room doing master prints for a lot of those promotional celebrity band glossies. That's awesome. That sounds like a cool gig. Woodchip saying, watch the full episodes of Red Green. Worth your time. Chris Sanders saying, I have a Red Fox 8-track. I need to find and listen to these. I also have Robin Williams' album, but someone borrowed it years ago. You know, as much as I love Robin Williams, I still can't. After he passed, I can't bring myself to watch his stuff. It kind of hits me different. Hey, Deborah's Loving Life is in the chat. Howdy, Deborah. How are you? How to Salvage Outlaws is saying JB's little shop. Ours, a brother from another mother. Oh, yeah. My favorite Red Fox skit was the horse race. Pirate Greg saying he's doing pretty good. How's everyone in the chat? I'm doing great, Pirate Greg. I'm just enjoying talking to everybody. We've been talking everything from small block Chevy heads to genders to everything. You know what I mean? And everybody's still in here, and no one's angry. So it's been a good night, I think. Chris Cadman saying $8,000. Dickie Farley's saying Ari DeBernie. It's from the year Britney Spears done "The Gentlemen Start Your Engines." Ain't going to lie, it's cute. She signed the "I Am Britney" with a heart. I like to think she done that just for me. Nice. Pirate Greg says, I'm the same. Rest in peace, Robin Williams. Yeah, it kind of hurts to watch him. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, he's still so damn funny. He's hilarious. Hilarious. Great actor, too, and everything. It's kind of tough to watch. Ian Stevens saying, to be ruminating and thinking and delving. The straight edges said, garbage in, garbage out. But I received no demon listening to Danzig. QB's Garage is saying, Mopar Man, we have 2 hours of Sanford and Son we watch at night here. The Aunt Esther battles are hilarious. Yes. Mopar Man saying, why do you have Randy Jackson's autograph on a martial arts weapon? JB's little shop saying George Carlin the best. Can't beat that guy's stand up. Oh my god, hilarious. Undeniably, just one of the great, probably the greatest, maybe the greatest. It, Bill Burr, especially early Bill Burr, gets me. I love Bill Burr. Between him and Carlin, I think I find like everything. I heard Greg saying my small block identifies as a big block. It's a I mean, there's a displacement thing. Right? Dickie Farley saying Justin Wilson is, excuse me, awesome. I used to watch him with my mom growing up. He has his own channel on YouTube now. They run a live feed continuous of his old and his new and old shows. You can even buy the seasonings. That's awesome, man. I didn't know about that. Cousin Abel's saying, all right, guys, I got to go check the date on my tires, followed by checking the fluids, finalizing evening checking, making sure fire extinguisher is in working order. Great time, guys. Thanks. Thanks so much for stopping in, Cousin Abel. Hope you're doing well, brother. And have a good week out there. And you're already checking the fluids, so I don't got to tell you, man. Got Leo Journey in the chat. Welcome, Leo. Thanks so much for stopping in. How are you? How's it over there? Awesome. I'm going to use the voice on my next videos. Olive's saying it was always fun to get drunk and sing Minor Threat songs. Make do with what you have. Take what you can get. Pay no mind to us. We're just a minor threat. Hey, good night, Cousin Abel. Thanks, brother. Sorry about the ambulance, man. I hope that improves. Chris Cabin says Carlin Burr went soft. Burr did kind of go a little soft, but he's still funny. He's still funny, just not as funny. Auto Salvage Outlaw saying, "Give me Country 2000s back." Yeah, pretty much, huh? I guess 90s country would be nice. Chris Cadman's dog is still passing gas. JB's little shop is saying, "Why do I have hearts flying out of my phone?" I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Zero's saying Go-Go's in the trust tree. Yeah, Go-Go's a man at Zero. Very, very cool dude. Dickie Farley saying, no doubt there was never nothing wrong with some Indian outlaw, boot scoot and boogie or anything, but this half rap Southern rock. Oh yeah, new country's kind of rough. It's yeah, it's kind of rough. There's like independent artists out there that write stuff, but you're not gonna hear them unless you're really looking for them. So George Strait, I mean, we need some George Strait again. We still got George Strait, but I used to when I'd work security and load in and load out when the country bands would come, the newer country bands, the artists were whatever, but their crews were always so damn cool. Always cracking me beers and stuff, and just we'd talking about all kinds of stuff. Lived everywhere. They're out in the country. I'm stuck here in the city. It's always fun when the country songs come through. This here. You guys talking about Danzig? We're talking about country. JB's saying, I think Dean done messed me up. Showing you a little too much love, JB. I'm saying they like to, yeah. Chris Cabin saying hollow body or solid. I'm going hollow body, Chris. I don't need to play that loud. Dickie Farley saying, I want to hear a country singer that makes me want to get a new trailer, trade in my old truck, and call my ex girlfriend while I'm drunk. I just, I need to like, it's got to be some sad, sad country. I'm just kidding. Pirate Greg saying Hank 3 and Bob Wayne, the Outlaw Carnies. Hank 3 had some good stuff too, but you'd watch his show and he'd play his country music and then he'd play his hellbilly music. And then he'd be playing that like weird metal sludge thing and he's playing propaganda videos behind him and he's wearing a crow suit. He's out there. Go Go Garage is saying, I got to meet those guys from that metal show with the exception of Stump the Trump. It's pretty badass, man. Oh, Pirate Greg saying straight to hell days, 06-ish. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. JB's saying Dean leaves. Oh, he's a switch hitter, is what you're saying there. Pirate Greg saying George Jones. Oh, yeah, just cried at some George Jones for sure. Olive's saying my original Danzig on vinyl was a tragic loss among my remaining vinyl. At Zero used to have a vinyl copy of Sam Hain November Coming Fire that he sold in a pinch. And I'm still a little sad about that. I'm sure he is too. I shouldn't bring it up, but here we are. Dickie Farley says solid. Gibson Les Paul or Fender Strat. Yeah, Dickie. I mean, a good Les Paul, especially like a nice custom or a studio. I mean, geez, it's a big sound. Woodchip saying no Dakota tonight must be snuggled up to his carburetor. He was here earlier, Woodchip. He just took off. I know he's got a factory job. He works real early, so he takes off a tiny bit earlier than everybody else. The show is pretty late. Like, what am I saying? You're on the East Coast too, man. It's late for you. Chris Cabin saying finger or flat pig. I don't. I mean, it depends. I don't use a pick much anymore. I guess it's kind of weird. I mean, I guess if I'm playing electric, I need a flat pick. UB's Garage is saying the song "She Broke My Heart" and so I broke her jaw was my favorite song. Dean Stevenson saying my close friends are Catholic, so Carlin and the rebels like him were a lot of fun to discuss things with. I was adopted into a Protestant family, but I have a Jewish convert father. Life is a melting pot. Yes, Jesus, that's different, Dean. UB, we know you're kidding. Everyone knows. Go Go Garage is saying I also met the Misfits, but not Danzig. That's still really rad, man. You got to meet Jerry and Doyle and everything. At Zero saying Delta Bombers, great band. Deborah is out for the evening, saying Ari and everybody have a good night. Thanks so much for stopping in, Deborah. I hope it wasn't too boring. You have a great week. Be safe out there. Check your fluids. Auto Salvage Outlaws is saying my dad played with the Beach Boys one time. Hey, they didn't surf either, man. At Zero saying Ari, that album is art and still on the wall at Bionic Record. It's mine until Bionic Records. It's mine until I buy it back. We ought to buy that thing back, man. Because that whole album. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to Sam Hain, but it's another one of Danzig's band's works. That that whole album is so damn good. In My Grip, that song "In My Grip," my God. All I'm saying, if my ex didn't end up with it, I basically had whittled the vinyl down to what I couldn't bear to part with, or what wasn't worth crap to sell. I had Nazi Punks F off on 45, though, with the Swans EP of Level Tear Us Apart on red vinyl, all the Sisters EPs. Damn, Olive. That's kind of a loss, but geez. And yeah, I mean, it's just stuff, but that's really good news. That's really cool stuff to have, man. Deborah saying, just want to stop by and say hi. Well, I appreciate it, Deborah. Thanks for coming through. Auto Salvage Outlaws out for the night saying, good night. Come check out my T Bird. I'll check it out, Auto Salvage Outlaws. I will. I will. Chris Sanders saying, Ari and the Chevettes. Hire Greg saying, Misfits Static Age is dope. Oh, yeah. Static. Static. Woodchip saying, I'm going to write my own country song. The true story of Woodchip. I still have the truck. I took the dogs too. Chris Cadman saying, my bag of socks ended up being an odd number, so I'm still screwed. Damn. QB's Garage is saying, I ran into Exene Cervenka at the doctor's office in Santa Ana. She was driving a Forerunner and she had a couple of dogs with her in the car. She was pretty scattered. She still sings like hell, though, man. She really crooning them out. Mopar Man saying, I like the Danzig album with Mother on it. I think that's one. That's just Danzig 1, right? All of that's rough. Chris Sanders saying the doo-wop band needs to happen. Ari and the Chevettes. You ever think how do they, how they invented doo-wop? You know what I mean? They must have been sitting there harmonizing, and then the village retard walks up and was like, "Hem, hem, 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 hem." And you're like, whoa, hold on, do that again. All of a sudden, I turned into a Martian. Yeah, can't even recall my name. Ghouls Night Out. At Zero saying, Ghouls Night Out is a great one. Suffer unto me. Hard to choose a favorite Misfits song. Dickie Farley saying in the late 80s and early 90s, at least the late 80s, you could get the record, cassette, and CD in an album, no matter if it was bronze or gold. Badass. Hubie saying they're still playing. Billy Zoom is a legend on the guitar. He does have a great style, Hubie, doesn't he? Does have a great style. Hubie, one time I saw him they did a little festival at the Galaxy or the Observatory, whatever you want to call it. And it was the Make the Music Go Bang Festival. And them and the Knitters played, and X played, and Billy was playing on just a hollow body Gretsch, and he was playing through a older twin reverb amp, and it was just overdriving. It was the coolest. I mean, I don't want to sound like a nerd. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. It was so damn cool, Hubie. Terrence Seymour's in the chat. He's saying, even guys just got home, picked up a nice M60 machine gun and some Lee Enfield rifles. Ah, Danzig. Was just listening to the Misfits in a van. Got an M60 and Misfits, dude. I'm jealous. At Zero saying we have done Space Mantis. Yes, Ari is Mantis. We don't call him Ari. Yeah. Chris Cabin saying Ari, Ari. Yeah. That song will sell. It's a hit. All of a sudden, on a related note, where the hell did I put my man or Astroman? See, Sanders saying I think it'd be a hit. Ari and the Chevettes. I'm picturing it like what's the movie Almost Famous? Yeah, definitely like an Almost Famous story. Dickie Farley saying I got a really nice limited edition Epiphone dot hollow body that will really play some cat scratch fever like a champ. Plays Ted Nugent better than Chuck Berry. Nice. Terrence like, that's how I roll, bro. It's awesome, Terrence. Mopar Man saying a few years back in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I'm saying wrong. Fayetteville. I saw met Hank 3. Bill from Pantera was there, but wouldn't sign anything and walked off stage. Hank signed my Confederate handkerchief and Rebel baseball cap. Badass. Chris Cadman saying, got that hollow Gretsch with a champ amp. Nice, man. Chris, one of the coolest sounds I've ever gotten was just playing through my brother's reproduction twin reverb, and just that electromatic through the twin reverb just sounded too damn cool, too damn cool. All I'm saying, I need to remember to get some guitar strings so I can continue to fail at music. I've been fixing this Ovation with a busted head. That's pretty cool. Old Ovation will sound nice once you get it fixed up. I'm sure you will. Pirate Greg was saying I was listening to a number of the Beast on vinyl earlier. Badass. They're talking Dropkick Murphys. I'm sure all of them stoked on the Murphys. He's garage saying he had a guitar shop in Orange. He did lessons too. I may have seen them at the Galaxy too. Last act I saw at the Galaxy was Nicolette Larson. I'm unenlightened, Hubie. Chris Cadman saying DOA. DOA is it's the Canadian band. They do the fucked up Ronnie. Me, Ronald Reagan. Because I can't remember shit. Almost Ad Zero saying Almost Famous should have been called Barely Legal. They were all underage. It's kind of a weird take on that movie, Ad Zero. Google Garage is saying Fastest Shark. Guess the group. Olive's asking Chris Cadman, you heard the Jello with DOA albums? Dickie Farley saying I seen Phil and Anselmo play at the Ozfest probably 2006 with Super Joint Ritual. He left the stage early because he said it was the worst crowd I'd ever seen in his effing life. I've worked some shows like that. I was working in security for a Billy Idol show, and they were playing Eyes Without a Face, and I think what's his name, Dave Davies, started playing his solo a little like sooner than Billy wanted him to. So Billy stormed off the stage. He was gone, and I was pulled backstage, so I got to sit there and like right here, just kind of pissed off little Billy Idol just walking right in front of me. I was like, holy shit, he's right there. That's him. Fucking A. Cool. I was kind of pissed I didn't get to hear all of Eyes Without a Face though. Terrence, how's Mr. Greaves doing? He was garage saying Billy Zoom was in Orange. Nicolette Larson was a backup singer for Neil Young. Oh yes, yeah, wouldn't 162's falling asleep. I have that effect on people. 162. He's saying everyone have a great one. You too, brother. Be safe out there. Make sure to check your fluids. Greg says, yeah, Super Joint Rituals suck. They got booed off stage Ozfest 2003 and 4 in Ohio. Yeah. Chris Cadman saying, my cousin tried to be DOA's manager. They were crazy. I bet. Chris Sanders saying, Frankie Valley, Sherry, but instead of Sherry, Ari. Hubie's Garage is saying we had some great music in the 80s. I'm jealous, man. You got to see those bands when they were fresh, man. That's too cool. I've seen X probably closer to probably a dozen times now. I've seen the Knitters. I've seen Exene perform with Dave Alvin, and they were doing all like folk songs and blues songs. It was like an acoustic show. At Zero's heading out. Yeah, guys, we're getting here. We're right here at about 3 hours. I'll probably call it if it's all right with you guys. Chris Cadman saying he meant Billy Idol when he was with the Gen X. That's pretty badass. A long time ago. X Inspect says, yeah, it's late. Yeah, it's getting pretty late, guys. I'll probably call it for the evening. And, I just thank you, everybody, for coming through. I really appreciate you guys staying so late, all the great feedback and everything. I'm glad everybody got along as well as they could, despite conflicting opinions. But you guys are great as always. Thank you. Appreciate you guys more than I can say. I'm always learning something on here. Great feedback. It means a lot. Um, Everybody have a great week. Have a solid week. Stay positive. Don't let anybody piss you off. Don't do it. Don't be better than me. But be safe out there. Check your fluids. Check the PSI on your tires for me. Just for me. You know what I mean? I know you guys are probably smarter than that. I'm not. So, but yeah, check your fluids, guys. Thank you. Chris Sanders says there's nothing wrong with a little doo-wop. Good night, Chris. Thanks, guys. Night, everybody. Thanks, Hubie. Thanks, Dino. Thanks, Dave. Everybody. You guys are great. Thank you. Good night, guys.